All right, welcome in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We are live. It is Monday, June 23rd. Jox 94.5. Glad you're with us. Hope you had a good weekend. G-Mac, how was the weekend for you?
Really good. Went to Texas to go see some of my high school friends do a annual trip to kind of raise the kids together. It's usually over Memorial Day weekend. In the past, it's also been on Father's Day weekend. But this year, with Memorial Day weekend being spoken for and Father's Day weekend having a wedding, it got pushed to this weekend. It was a great, great time. But yesterday's travel was a disaster. 5-hour delay out of Dallas, trying to get back to Birmingham. Supposed to land at 1:30, don't land until 6:45, with a 6'3" and a 1-year-old.
What's the
a
problem?
1-year-old that can't walk.
What's the problem?
I mean, a piece of cake. Dude, we were at the airport. We got there at 10 o'clock. We didn't take off until 4:45.
There's a lot going on DFW, though.
Yeah, a lot to do with a 1-year-old that can't walk, no stroller.
Let's let them watch the planes take off.
Yeah, that was good for about 15 minutes.
That's it?
Yeah.
They got the guys riding by in the golf carts all the time, beeping and honking at you. Go to watch those.
Not in Terminal E.
Way out there.
All the way at the end. It was fine. I mean, we got home in one piece, but we were struggling.
It's not fine.
Walking through the door yesterday.
There's no part of that amount of time in an airport with children that's fine.
It was hard. It was a hard day traveling yesterday, but we made it, survived, and here we are. We're back.
Made it.
Back and at it.
We got Ross Dellinger coming up 7:45, 7:40 today. College football reset. How far back are we going? What's going to be different? We'll discuss that with him. Brian Fisher, article out discussing some of the reset in college football, kind of where we're heading, what we're going to do, what it's going to look like. He'll join us at 8:20 today. Kyle Peterson will talk Men's College World Series at 9:20. LSU picks up a national championship. The SEC continues to dominate the Men's College World Series. Oklahoma City Thunder take your NBA championship. The Lakers sell for just $10 billion. Just $10 billion. That's it.
Are you surprised?
Yeah, 10's a lot. That's a big number. I'm no matter what it is, who it is, where it is, that's a huge number.
It's the Lakers.
That's a big number.
But it's the Lakers.
$10 billion's a big number. I don't care if it does. That's a huge number. Yeah, I mean, for one franchise, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I don't disagree. Especially, in the midst of a possible retirement from LeBron at some point here in the future. LeBron not even playing there, perhaps. There's a lot of intriguing aspects of it, but I can't say when I saw that number come across that I was surprised. Not when the Celtics, with no real estate, sold for 6.2.
Well, I think the thing that's surprising, honestly, Greg, are the people that continue to dump money into the NBA with all of the potential struggles that are out there. It's not one that looks like the growth is necessarily skyrocketing right now. So that's, to me, where it's not that the value in that brand is not massive or huge, but it's just you look at it and you say, is that really where the money's going? And so that's a little bit surprising. And then, you have maybe some private equity heading into college sports. We know what the NFL's doing. Major League Baseball looks like it's having a massive bounce back right now. That may be why I was a little surprised by a number that big.
Understandable, but we don't have access to all of their information when it comes to their socials, and we don't have access to all the information when it comes to their international stuff. I think the NBA is an average product right now, at best. I think there's a lot of talent. I watched last night's game. I think there's a lot of talent. I think there's a lot of individual skill. But across the board, I just can't get fired up about Oklahoma City, Indianapolis. I just can't. I cannot do it. If it were Knicks, Lakers, sure. If it were Celtics, Lakers, sure. If it were the Miami Heat and, I don't know, the Houston Rockets, I'd be more into it. I'm just using those two as an example. Like, I think the tough thing that the NBA is dealing with right now is that a lot of their best players are on middle market programs, and they're not ones that just traditionally move the needle. They're not wired to be all in to watch them. So I think the NBA is still in a position of strength because for whatever reason, all these companies a la Amazon and Disney and Turner and NBC getting back in the mix, like they're still writing big checks to air their games. I think it's a lot to do with volume.
Inventory. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's purely it. inventory and I don't know, some rights to the socials because I think NBA does really well in socials.
Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about that one later as the show continues. Had a busy weekend, a great weekend, a lot of fun. Hit a Barons game Saturday night. Got really lucky with the weather because it was not completely miserably hot. And we had the Harry Potter night, which if you have a daughter that has no interest in baseball and has a lot of interest in Harry Potter and two boys that have a lot of interest in baseball and absolutely no interest in Harry Potter, very rarely do you get the 3-for-3 win outing.
Good mashup.
Which we actually had on Saturday night. Yeah, it's a rare one for us, but we got it.
Explain to me, at what age does Harry Potter become appropriate?
That is not a question for me, since I have not seen a single second of any of the films.
It gets hardcore towards
nor
the back end.
Nor have I read one page of any of the books. I have had some of the pages of the books read to me. While unfortunately I fell asleep in my daughter's bed when she wanted to read Harry Potter to me. But it sounded like it was cool at first, I guess. I don't know.
It's good. I mean, I've read all the books. I've seen all the movies. It gets pretty hardcore. You can tell that like the originals were written for like 8th graders and you're expected to read them like once a year. And then by the time you turn 16, all right, cool. Yeah, these Deathly Hallows series are pretty hardcore. Like they're hardcore.
Yeah, I do know that my wife.
The books are more intense than the movies.
I do know my wife wanted her to wait, but I think it was a little bit of a peer pressure thing where so many of the friends were starting to watch it and read it.
Yeah.
So I think that started this year, which would have been 4th grade. So going into 5th, but I mean she's been on it for a little while now. So, but it was great. We had
that's probably about right. 4th, 5th grade. I mean, you can handle it at that point. I think the movies are just PG-13.
Regions, yeah, Regions was awesome. Park obviously great, in great shape. We had the guys over there took great care of us. We appreciate that. And then had some pretty good baseball. I mean, it was kind of back and forth. Had a couple home runs. Had a couple big plays. It was cool. And then we took the 2 older kids to camp yesterday, and I was just it was weird. My elementary school did like I don't know, remember if it was a weekend or if it was like 2 nights, what it was. Like we went to Camp Cosby, but it was like my class. So like I knew every kid there. So it was, I mean, I could sit there and tell you the names like Anthony Ardavino, Early Billups, Chris Staggs, like me, like Billy Wade. Like we all went as a school to Camp Cosby for like 2 nights, I think it was. It wasn't a long time. Did you do camp when you were a kid? Like, did you go off to camp?
I did not.
See, my wife did. And so my kids are going for a week, which I'm just, as a parent, when I first heard that, and it's really normal. A lot of kids that we know are doing it and have been doing it and do it all the time. Like some of my kids' friends, this is their 3rd year they've done it. I'm just like, whoa. But a week just felt like a long time, but I guess it's pretty normal. I didn't do camp when I was a kid a whole lot.
No.
But
it wasn't a thing with us. Like it wasn't a thing in our community. I didn't know a single person that went to camp. Not one. I think here there's a few more like that were within reason from a distance standpoint. But I remember a few people like going to a place called like Sky Ranch and, you know, getting the promotional videos for it and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, that thing looks awesome. That'd be so fun.
Y'all didn't have like the cowboy camps over there in Texas?
No, not that I
can
learn
how to rope the cattle and whatnot.
How to raise and rope broncos. No, none of those.
Cowboy clown camp. Where you like get in the barrels.
Cowboying's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
I didn't need no camp. It's a frame of mind.
Damien, did you go to camp? No. It sounds like it's going to be an awesome week for them. Like, and the cool part, like they have no technology, they have no phones, nothing. So I mean, that part I love. So
I never heard of it until here, which I'm totally supportive of. I think it's great they get the well-rounded experience. I just feel like having to take out a second mortgage, send your kid to camp is mind blowing to me.
There's some
do a HELOC on the house so the kid can go to camp.
Yeah, don't feel like this one is, but there are some. We are not at that one.
It's like, man.
We are at Winnetasca. I will let everyone know, and you can pit the prices against one another if you would like, because that other one would have been like, absolutely not.
I need a spreadsheet. I also need a means of justification. I just need to know, like, all right, hang on a second. So I can stay at the Four Seasons for $400 a night, or I can go, sleep in a hammock.
Well, there were a couple others that were priced. Well, I've heard about the price. It's been told by my wife, in which I just said, wow, so we could take the family to Tahiti for a week, or they could go to camp for a week. Got it. Noted. I don't know which one I think I might choose.
What if you got invited to camp? And then it's worth the money.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. D tweets in, went to Camp Crosby my 5th grade year. We went for the week, came back on Friday. Maybe we did go for the week. I don't think we went that long. It didn't feel. Again, that was long. I don't remember that. I can't remember 2 days ago, really. But it was fun when we went. I guess I don't know. It sounds like it's gonna be a cool week. Like I mean, all the kids that have been prior talking about how great it is. So I just didn't know. I don't know how many people go to camp or went to camp as kids. I did feel like would this be the fair time to introduce Friday the 13th on like Saturday night?
Maybe not.
Why not?
That's like the absolute worst case scenario.
Kids, let me introduce you to Camp Crystal Lake before y'all head out there. One way to assure that they don't have an accident swimming.
No, not at all.
They ain't going to that water after that one.
Nope.
Nope.
I do.
You want to sneak out of the cabin? Let me introduce you to Jason Voorhees. Bet you'll be bunked up when the sun goes down now.
Absolutely.
I don't know why. I don't know why you can't just. I don't know why every camp movie can't just be Heavyweights. Like Heavyweights is a great movie about going to camp. I mean, yes, there are.
Friday the 13th was a good movie about going to camp. It depends on what you're looking for.
Tony Perkis and Jason are very similar characters. Not
much difference there.
No, I mean one runs around with the chainsaw, and the other, takes away food for lack of hustle. Like all these things are wrong.
Spoken like a true Texan. Not Texas Chainsaw Massacre, actually. Friday the 13th is mostly done with machetes.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, whatever.
Tomato.
Whatever sharp
to each their own
object.
Yeah,
Right? I don't care if it's samurai
It'll
swords.
get the job done.
It'll get the job.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I'm not
done.
sure it matters. I could go after you with the box cutter, and we got action. Like we'd be just fine. No, it doesn't matter. It's the intent.
Well, the reason that I wanted to ask if you had experience with it, had talked about it, the most surprising aspect of it was not the duration, was not the activities, cost, as you said. For certain others, not ours, by the way. We are not.
You keep driving.
We are not at the white tablecloth camp. I just want everybody to know.
They better be serving fine china at the camp.
At that one, they should. My kids better come back speaking French, Spanish, reading Braille, and knowing sign language if they're going to that camp.
In 1 week?
If they're going to that camp you're talking about, if they're going to the one you're talking about, yeah.
I haven't said any camps by name.
Yeah. They better come back hitting 8 of 10 threes minimum.
Outside?
Yes. It was great. The one little pavilion that they had yesterday, I actually have a picture of it. I was going to post it. It's hilarious. They have a little basketball gym set up inside the pavilion.
Yeah.
And the roof of the pavilion is 8 feet above the rim. And I'm like, so we're playing inside here.
Love that.
Straight post game.
That's it.
Absolutely no perimeter game happening
None.
at Camp Winnetoski.
Not an option.
Steph Curry would hate this camp. There would be no Steph Curry if he went to this camp.
I think
he ain't shooting threes in that place.
I think Steph Curry's kids probably have their own camp. That's just his house.
Bama Posey tweets in, Camp Skyline in Mentone, 2nd and 3rd mortgage. That's Bama Posey talking, not me. I don't know the things. I don't know the names. Don't put that on me. But Bama Posey says that.
You're just promoting your own privilege.
Oh,
here.
but Mentone, that's where you go to snow ski. So yeah, now I get it. That's like an alpine retreat right there.
See, I love
that's
right
the
now.
Same thing
that
as the Swiss Alps, basically.
I love the whole world is finding out just how loaded Cole Cubelic is for sending his kid to camp.
Y'all go check Winnetoski's numbers.
I'll give you a camp, son. Take this bow, sit in a tree stand. You'll learn about
But
camp.
that's understood right there because Mentone, you might as well be in the French Alps right there. That's basically Switzerland. It's the same thing. They're probably learning how to ski up there and make their fake snow. It's the same deal. I get that now. Now I understand it.
Does Mentone have high property taxes? I don't understand. How do we know about
you go
Mentone?
Snow skiing up there.
Huh?
You go snow skiing in Mentone.
Okay, look, be real here.
You could go snow skiing in Mentone, Alabama.
That's great.
What's fake about that?
Yeah, well, that's great. But real snow skiing, you just because it has
snow.
I'm
sorry.
What's fake snow
what are
skiing?
you triple black diamond?
No, I don't ski. So I'm not one that's super familiar, but I know just having lived in Alabama for 14 years of my life, I know that we don't get the best snow.
The best.
You ain't been to North Alabama.
The best snow.
This
is
where
the
we are.
northeast corner of Alabama we're talking about, Greg.
Nothing makes me happier than
different up there,
to live in Alabama and to call myself an Alabamian. As all my Texan friends this weekend were like, "You need to come back to Texas." And I'm like, "I'm not good. I'm good. You can take me out of here in a box. I'm going to be an Alabama guy the rest of my life. I love where we live." But I understand that, you know what? If I want to take my family skiing, I probably need to leave the state.
Okay, maybe Gatlinburg. Maybe.
That is probably a little too far.
Yeah, it's out there. But
I mean, I don't know. Am I missing something here? Someone tweeted into the show.
You really do have there are like you can go ski once out every 11 years they get
Okay,
snow.
so this is not like a regular occurrence. Like this is like
I think they do make fake
when
snow
it
there
does
also.
snow randomly.
I think in the wind they will make their own. I think
There's nothing I love more. There's nothing more authentic than a homemade snow mountain
yeah.
that I can go ski on. If I'm going to take the trouble of going skiing, it's not going to be on homemade snow.
Do you think homemade snow you're more susceptible to rip the ACL like you are on turf?
I don't know. I think homemade snow is like basically foam. It's basically what they're spraying is insulation. I'm convinced.
I think the injury risk is a little higher.
They're just doing foam insulation, just like you have in your house. In some cases, that's what you're skiing on.
Is that the end result also? Like
I think there's a strong possibility it's cancer causing. I don't know for sure. I don't know. But I think it's possible.
Take a fall, you come up with asbestos.
When I see these snowmaking machines, it freaks me out every time. Like, people do this? People get on that? People accidentally have that hit their face?
They
Like,
had that. Yeah, I saw the machine in Gatlinburg the last time we were there, but it wasn't time, I guess, to get it going yet because it was spring break. So we're making it. As far as Greg tweets in, we used to do off-season maintenance at Camp Winnetoska with the Reserve U.S. Navy Seabees. Beautiful place. See, if it's good enough for the U.S. Navy, it's good enough for my kids.
It can be beautiful.
Go in there and learn how to survive.
Yeah, survive with 3 square meals a day. Popsicles.
Yeah, but only
twice
3.
a day.
No snacks. No ice cream.
I'm sure there's no snacks.
None.
Yeah. What a hard knock life the Cubelic kids have to
That's
lead.
it. They're going to be grinding.
They go hunt for their
Unbelievable.
food.
They're going out there with 2 sticks making fires.
That was the first conversation I go to. All right, so this is literally
Roasted marshmallows.
I'll just pull back the curtain for a second. Cole is so sensitive to this, and I love it because I would be too, if I'm going to be completely honest. If my kids were going to camp, I would feel the exact same way. I walk in this morning, I'm like, "Hey man, how's your weekend?" He's like, "Oh, it was great, dude. Catherine went. She's got some stuff going for her work and some cool stuff. But we took the kids to camp." And before I could even, where'd they go? Not the rich one. I mean, it's like, all right, I got you. Like, all right, I don't know.
You led with, "Oh man, I heard that's like $7,000 a week," and I was like, "Not that one."
I said,
"They're not going to that one."
That was my first thought. I was
I know
like, dude,
about that
I've never, I can't believe those. They're so expensive. Like I think it's amazing. I hope I can afford it. But now knowing that there's alternative options, I'm in a good spot. We're back. Not the real one. It was Red A. Cole. First question of the day. Actually, second question of the day. How's the weekend?
Yeah, tired.
And then, oh my gosh, dude, I heard that costs like a fortune. No.
The reason that I wanted to bring it up is I was hoping that other folks here had gone. The most surprising aspect of all of it was the actual preparation to send the kids to camp. Which, see, my mindset would be you're going to camp. You need like a bathing suit, a couple T-shirts, like some dirty shoes, and a toothbrush. That's about it.
Sounds about right.
Nah, we needed a duffel bag that felt like I was carrying Damien into camp. I mean, my wife made a joke at one point about my daughter taking her duffel bag up the hill to her cabin, and I was like, her and every one of the other 20 girls in those 2 cabins could not pull this bag up that hill. Like, that would be like a day's event for those girls to try to. That's what they should do.
Yeah.
If they really want to test these kids, they'd say, get your duffel bags into your cabin.
It's strategy.
Because it would literally be like the old deals at the pyramid where you had the logs and you had to roll the up the logs, like to get it in there, that would be the only way they could figure out how to do it. They would have to invent a pulley system for the children to be able to figure out how to get their own duffel bags up the hill to their cabin.
Yeah.
Because not all of them have a mule of a father that has to drag that thing up there. I don't know how. I don't know how much. How do we need all this?
You're probably more donkey than you are mule.
Both. Either.
You don't have the horse blood.
Oxen, whatever.
It's the horse blood.
Whatever the slow moving, move the stuff around animal of the day is, that would be me.
That's it.
It's just a lot of stuff, man.
So
a lot
much
of stuff. Don't understand.
So much stuff. But I am kind of amazed at just because you go to the camp that's less expensive, you still have to have 7 outfits a day.
Well, there's theme nights.
What money
days,
you save on the camp, you make up for.
You make up for the outfits.
And the opportunities to showcase different styles.
Oh, but everything we purchased for that was bargain, Greg.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I'll say that. And I don't know how many people here.
But if you're going, the kids can't do laundry. Like, you don't want them to wear a dirty shirt. Or maybe you do. If I were at camp, anyway. I'd wear a dirty shirt.
Right.
I was at camp this weekend. Not really at camp, but sitting at a pool with amongst my friends in Texas. And I wore a dirty shirt 2-3 days in a row. I don't care. I ain't worried about it. But I don't want my kids to have to do that.
We have some interesting thoughts coming in. I do want to know if the majority of our listeners have been, did go, will go, want to go. When referencing camp, 800-239-9569. You can get in. Also, you can tweet into the show at Mac and Cube. Listen online, joxfm.com. We're live on YouTube every day. I have accomplished my first goal of the children being at camp because another completely backwards aspect of it is the quote mail they get. That's all already been written. Like we had to turn in the 5 letters for the 5 days or 6, whatever it is.
Oh, I got
and you drop it off in the different days. But you can email them, quote fingers, with no technology, things that have happened. So I've already texted the wife this morning, and I'm like, send him that LSU won the national championship. Oklahoma City won the NBA title. Like he's going to – Ohtani hit his 26th home run. These are the things he's going to want to know. And she's like, eye roll emoji. I'm like, trust me, he would rather know this than
I really love
whatever else you're going to send him
really
about.
Miss you.
You know, how
Mommy and Daddy had a great day today.
Exactly.
Hope you did too.
Though that's and here's the other part. He hears that stuff from his friend first. He's going to be mad.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm actually on your team.
Those are the good parents that sent their kid the stuff that Gilgeous Alexander won the MVP of the series, and Ohtani got his 26th.
Yeah,
he's walking around having to hear that from other kids, and all of a sudden it's a bad day.
Now all of a sudden he's not the cool kid.
Yeah, you know, Trevor's parents actually love him. They sent him that LSU won.
Yeah,
the series 2-0. Greg wants to talk camps. Welcome in, Greg.
Yeah, I always liked Winnetoska when I dropped the kids off and we had to go through the.
It really sounded like you were going to say you liked Winnetoska, but you like dropping the kids off.
But when you dropped your kids off and you went and you set up their bunks and everything was a comparison of the other kids and how you felt like you're a second-class citizen because you didn't have the latest fan or the spritzer bottle, and then you had to go through the gift shop and it was just a goat roping of crap to buy that your wife just said, oh, we got to get this, we got to get this, we got to get this.
T-shirts.
Like I've already spent X amount of dollars.
Yep. Why did we need T-shirts when actual children are there?
Yep.
Don't need the shirt. Like they're there.
I feel you, but you do have a week of you and the wife now.
No. 5-year-old running around. He gets his way all week.
Well, there you go.
That kid will hit 7,000 baseballs this week in the backyard. All by himself.
Hey, I think it's
Thank
good.
you, Greg. Appreciate the call.
I think it's great. I think it's amazing to have some time, some relaxation, some chill. Like you're about to be in a good spot this week.
That's Mentone on the TV right there, Greg.
Yeah,
Mark, quickly on camps. Welcome in, Mark.
Hey, how are you guys?
Great. How are you?
Good. I'm fine. Not a lot to say. Listen to y'all all the time, but when you talked about Winnetoska, it hit a chord with me. My father was there many, many years ago, probably 50. I went there. My son went there. And just so you know, your kids will have the greatest experience of their life. It's Christian camp. They're good. It's simple is why I liked it, because it's outdoors. They'll have a great experience of learning about outdoors and stuff. They they don't have tons of stuff to do, but it's a basic, simple camp. They'll be safe, and they will have the time of their life. That was my whole family's experience. So just wanted to pass that along.
Appreciate that, Mark. No, absolutely. And the scenes were cool, but it was a beautiful place. There's no doubt about that. And the other kids who have been have all said amazing things. It was cool because my wife went. So we're dropping our daughter off, and she's like, that's where she was like, I stayed there the first year I went. I stayed in that cabin. She's like, it all looks exactly the same. Now, I will say this, dropping them both off, feeling the temperatures in those cabins, do not know how I would sleep.
It's a little warm.
Warm. It is borderline sauna.
Oh, it's not cold. It's not hot at night. Not when you're in the mountains.
That's the other camp, not our camp. The other camp has
No fake
natural
snow
AC,
in
Greg. That's
June,
why it's so
right?
expensive.
And just for that reason alone, I think if we go to the mountains.
This camp's altitude is actually lower, so it's hotter.
It's in a basin.
It's hotter. We want them sleeping in the warmer
You
temperatures.
guys better lose weight before we get back.
Better.
I need to know y'all were working.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more about this next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Also, I will say this, G-Mac, before we get back into camps. Went to check out Matt Rife last night at the Coca-Cola Amphitheater.
How was it?
That place is incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It is unbelievable. Just a beautiful venue. I'm not a big live music person. I'm not a big concert person. But if you are and you're planning on going to one of these things, it's gonna be sweet. And I don't know the whole, like, I remember when Huntsville did theirs, and there's like, oh my God, the sound of this thing. Like, it bounces off the walls and completely changes your heart rate. I don't know what the difference is with how the music bounces off or doesn't go one direction but goes the other direction. And most of you are probably so out of your mind it doesn't matter which direction it goes anyway.
Wow.
Specifically for the shows coming up there.
It's amazing.
I think y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, your brainwaves will be on a little bit different pattern for that show than it will be during the day.
It's amazing how many people like openly endorse a band that is directly associated with
Funk music.
Recreation.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You were basically telling people that you enjoy recreation.
Oh, you're talking about Chingy?
Dude, that was a hot topic of debate this weekend.
Chingy?
Yeah.
In
What, that he's good or not?
No, like one of my buddies is like, he really is like one of the best rappers of like for us growing up.
Yeah, you need to.
He was dead. He was dead serious. I was like, he's fine.
Ain't nobody putting him in though.
But in Texas, I probably assume he was probably a little better in Texas than he was maybe in the Southeast. And I can maybe get on board with that. But because he was popular where we grew up, but I don't know if I'd go as far as say he was.
Why
the
is
best.
Chingy more popular in Texas?
I don't know.
Is he a St. Louis guy?
Yeah.
It's close enough.
Might as well say it's North Texas.
Nelly's
He
from
hit
St.
home
Louis,
for
too.
us.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry, not everybody likes Mike Jones.
Who?
Yeah. 281-330-8004.
I will say, just kind of total sidebar,
Yeah.
watching CBS Sports HQ this morning before the show, hearing Roy Hibbert discuss how Houston got the better end of this trade because getting Kevin Durant, the nightlife was better and the real estate options in Houston were better.
That's all right.
He's
Tell
37.
That's kind of just like back to when you have your 40-year-old friends that are like, I'm a diehard fan of so-and-so band because I like to partake in recreational activities. They'll never admit that we know why you like that band. It's fine. But that's a little bit like, oh, just admit that you like going to gentlemen's clubs. Like, just admit that.
Wow.
Like,
What are we talking about?
Houston.
Oh, that's what he's saying, the nightlife, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
100%.
Yeah.
Houston is like known for that.
So it's like living on Valley Avenue.
I don't know which one that is. This one here?
No.
By the Waffle
No,
House?
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no.
I go to that
That's
Waffle House.
Valley Avenue. We went to that Waffle House Saturday
It's
morning.
apples to oranges.
It's
It's apples
not.
to oranges.
Yeah. I mean, it's not quite
It's all
Houston.
proximity and
Yeah, I mean,
abundance.
Quality.
I think. Yeah. But it was great because they asked Roy Hibbert to sell him why it was a great move for Durant to Houston. Like, oh, him and Jabari Smith are going to be able to team up. And it's like, that was his answer. He's like, players like the nightlife, the real estate's good. I'm like, I don't think that's what they meant. I think, like, what offense are they going to be able to run?
yeah, the players like the nightlife. Yep. There's a reason why James Harden was like so fired up to get to Houston from OKC a couple years back. Like,
Yeah.
He likes fish.
Whew.
the band?
I think Haney's going to Dave Matthews this week. Is that this week?
I think
It's
he's
one of
going to
these
fish in a couple weeks.
Oh, he's going to all.
Thomas Rhett is this week
Above.
as well.
What does he sing?
I don't even know if it's
Is
new
it country?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not
I don't know
familiar.
if
Hadn't
it's
seen
new
the tape.
What's the name?
Thomas Rhett.
Thomas Rhett.
Oh, yeah.
Is that Eric Rhett's brother? Florida running back?
No, I don't think
Not
so.
him?
No, I don't think so.
Now, if I'd have said Florida fullback, you said maybe.
Linebacker.
Tackle.
Tackle.
But no, the venue was amazing last night, and Matt's hilarious, man. Like he was a lot last night. Apparently went this I want to know, and we may get our contact back on to have this discussion. He made a reference at one point last night that he had gone 40 minutes over. He needed to get off stage because he didn't want to hit the overage fees. I want to know like when those kick in and what those are. Like
Power.
if you are, because they got to set up for the next show. It was one of the things that was described to us on the show was the way that they have set it up is like the trucks can already be there for the next show and they can flip it really quick because they can already go ahead and get set up. Most places don't have the access or the ability for that. And you kind of saw walking up from the back of the place, like how they can do that. But like, what is that fee? If you're supposed to be done at midnight, whatever it is, I want to know, like, if it's Metallica, if it's Matt Rife, if it's Fish, like you go over your overage. I want to know what that fee is. What do you get hit with? Because for somebody like him to say, I do not want that, I imagine it's fairly large. So like you go 1201, like what are you getting hit with? 50 grand? 150 grand?
So here's what I
need to know that.
I don't know this for sure. But my assumption is that every single person there is expected to clock out.
Correct. Yes.
At a certain time.
And a lot of folks clock in because they start setting up for the next show.
Well, sure, but the people that are maybe running the vending machines or vending,
making sure your dollar doesn't get spit back out.
Yeah. The people that are running basically all the hospitality surrounding it are probably trigger overtime at some point. And if you go too far beyond what the expectation is, like you can't expect the amphitheater to be responsible for that. No. That has to be the artist. So I'm assuming there's probably it's all contractual, but I would imagine there's probably some protections for the venue.
That's a great point.
In that spot. But I think it's good. I never even thought about that, but that's probably a real thing.
I will say, my wife on the way home, she said, I just couldn't believe how friendly everybody was that was working there. I said, what do you mean? She's like, well, just the people taking tickets and the like.
It's night one.
The people, like I said, first night. I said also, comedy show. We were all laughing all night. They hear the same things we hear working there. Probably a little different than the level of consumption. Probably a little different for Metallica or
also
Pantera than it is for Matt Rife.
Also a Sunday night.
Yeah. That's I mean, I don't know. If you're going to a concert on a Sunday night, you probably know what you're in for. A little different when, who's the country guy everybody's mad at?
Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, when he comes to town, as opposed to when
Matt if he
comes
plays.
That's also true.
I think that's what actually you probably deal with more. That's the case.
True. Let's see how friendly they are when Fish rolls into town.
Probably really friendly.
On night 2.
I'm hoping to get some grilled cheese for hugs down there. I'm going down there just to tailgate. And if I don't get some grilled cheese for hugs, by God, I'm going to be upset. Because that's what I heard happens.
Buckle up.
Listen, if you want to be Grateful Dead, that's got to happen. Because when I went down to the BJCC, which is what it was then, for Grateful Dead, didn't actually go in, I got 3 hugs for 3 grilled cheese.
Heck yeah.
And wanted more. And she said she ran out of bread. So, just saying.
It's fair.
That's what y'all want. That's what I expect it to be. But either way, it was a great show last night. Matt crushed it. Some of the characters in the crowd, he did a lot of crowd work, I think by accident, which he's great at. One dude had like a homemade concoction beer strapped to his hand. He called it an Alabama baseball glove, which I thought was great.
Oh my God.
They showed the guy, like he had it in the crowd. It was amazing.
Alabama baseball glove.
There was like a 66-year-old lady that made him a quilt, like hand knitted him a quilt. You can imagine he had some fun with that one. I will say though,
Happy Gilmore references there?
No, but I will say maybe, and I think I'm pretty sure it happened by accident. He could have planned the whole thing out. The best part of the show was there was a lady off to the side signing the show, and so him with the lady signing, also with the lady being signed to, made for some really good stuff.
I can imagine so.
I mean, I think once he realized, like, oh, I can manipulate this and have that turned in, and maybe it was all planned. I don't know. I don't think it was. He had some fun with that. You can only imagine where that went.
How was the turnout last night?
I felt like it was about 90%, 95% full. I mean, there's a couple seats here and there. Like there was like 2 next to us that were empty, but it looked packed.
Yeah.
And it was not that difficult to get in and out of for a packed show. So good news for you guys.
I do like I do really like that we have a venue like that. Since the time we moved here, we've redone the BJCC, we've built Protective, and we now have a legitimate amphitheater in Coca-Cola Amphitheater. Like we have some legit venues now.
It's big time, man.
I'm real excited about it.
And again, I know that some of y'all know all about the acoustical aspects of it. I don't. but the venue's cool. And we did
Or some people like,
but they
not
told us about all the
liking
different things, like the Cosmic Pizza. I think that place is from Phoenix. The burger, we had the burger, whatever it was, amazing. It was really good. So we did not have the, what did he tell us it was? Ice cream in a pouch.
Yeah, in a pouch.
We didn't get that, but wife was very intrigued by it, but we didn't get it. So either way, yeah. Flannel Fred says he's we'll do that after the break. More coming up next. Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Monday, June 23rd, 7:44. Ross Dellinger on the other side discussing a first in college football. Lawsuit that has been filed that apparently is going down, and we'll see kind of what that looks like going next. So either way, we'll kind of get you up to tune on that. Before we do that, Greg, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's has been great. It's been the only place I've shopped for a very long time. I've always appreciated the experience that I have. I've always appreciated the amount of selection and inventory that they have, always available. It's just the best. I mean, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about the second you walk in the door in Mountain Brook Village store or at the Summit. It's gold, silver, priceless jewelry, natural diamonds, you name it, they got it. And they have the best sales staff around to help point you in the right direction and make you feel good about the purchase that you're potentially going to have in your family for many, many years. So highly recommend you go in and checking them out. Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit, it's Bromberg's.
All right, when we come back, Ross Dellinger on a first in college sports lawsuit that has been filed. We'll discuss that next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, let's talk some college football here with Ross Dellinger. Before we do that, quickly, I'll tell you about Game Day Men's Health. You're looking for a better night's sleep. If you feel on edge, Game Day Men's Health can help you. If you're looking to lose some weight, multiple weight loss plans at Game Day Men's Health, it's easy. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Sign up. You get the free consultation. That includes a free PSA test, free testosterone test to get an idea of where your baseline health is. Then Game Day Men's Health gives you the options they have to help you feel better. They just want to make your daily routine better, want you to feel better. Holistic approach to health and wellness, testosterone replacement, weight management. They want to consult you on different ways to make you feel better each and every day. Minimal upfront cost from the programs they offer. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now and sign up for that free consultation. Ross Dellinger joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Ross, a really landmark moment in college sports. Wisconsin has filed a lawsuit against Miami for tampering and eventually poaching a college football player. This is Xavier Lucas that this is referencing. What is the ultimate goal here? Is this to sort of prove a point? Is this to maybe start some sort of a trend that, hey, this is the only way it's going to be to prevent some of this stuff from happening? What do you expect Wisconsin to really What's their real desire in filing this lawsuit, in your opinion?
Well, I think their desire is what they kind of wrote in the last portion of the lawsuit, which is what they're seeking. The court obviously has to be seeking something in a lawsuit, and Wisconsin wrote that they are primarily seeking a ruling from a judge to basically say publicly and rule that what they're alleging Miami to have done, which is tampering, as you mentioned, tampering with a player who's under contract. They want the court to rule that happened and that is illegal and wrongful. And it would kind of set the reason this is such a big case. First of all, it's the first of its kind to have one school suing another based around these revenue share contracts. And I think they want to set a precedent. Wisconsin does for all of college sports that if you tamper with a player under one of these rev share contracts, that it is illegal, it is wrongful, and a court will find you guilty of such. So I think they're hoping to set some kind of precedent. They're also hoping to get some kind of unspecified financial damages. But that's not as important probably as setting the precedent for all of college sports now that these rev share agreements are, pretty widely used and circulated. I think it's a big primary goal here is to set the precedent.
What do you make of just the precedent that you referenced? But do you expect this to become commonplace? Because if this opens Pandora's box, then could that lead to more back alley deals? Because I'm not sure that this is ever going to stop, but it might be maybe in the underbelly more so than it is in the forefront.
Well, I think that's probably a suggestion, that many people are making, that in this new era where you have more rules and enforcement potentially, that you'll get a situation where it'll start going under the table again, so to speak, like the old days. And I don't know if there's anything you can do to stop that. I mean, obviously the new College Sports Commission is has a CEO, is gonna have an enforcement staff, an investigative staff that CEO Brian Seeley will hire. And we're just not sure yet, how restricted they're going to be, but they are going to have a staff that's supposed to look into stuff like this, right? They're supposed to look into to under the table deals and cheating and all of that.
Ross Dellinger joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking some of the state of college sports. Ross, and when you look at this lawsuit being filed, how much support does Wisconsin have from the individual player, in your opinion? Are they going to be able to utilize Xavier Lucas to say that this took place or that this happened, or do you think they're using third-party information? What will his role be in this lawsuit, in your opinion?
Yeah, a lot of people were surprised that they didn't actually sue Xavier Lucas. They're not filing any kind of legal lawsuit or whatnot against him.
You know where that would go in recruiting with other schools. I mean, immediately they'd be like, hey, go to Wisconsin. They're going to sue you.
Yeah, that's correct. They did cite in the lawsuit that they're using a statement from Xavier Lucas back in December when he basically allegedly told them that Miami was pursuing him. So I guess if it does go to court, if this does go to court in some way, he would conceivably he'd be called to testify. You would think, or discovery in the process of discovery where evidence is kind of produced and documents. You would think that he would be involved in some way.
It's just kind of wild to think about this and where it's going. Give us your quick update on sort of the reset with things from the college football playoff standpoint of the format, the meetings that took place last week. What do we need to know about where we're headed next with the college football playoff and where it stands today?
Yeah, well, I think after it became pretty clear after SEC spring meetings that that league was moving away from the 4-4-2-2-1 kind of playoff model, which is a heavy AQ model, and moving toward a playoff format that has a bigger at-large pool. And that's really not what the Big Ten wants. They want the AQ heavy model. So the two entities, the SEC and Big Ten, disagree, and that poses a problem because the two control the playoff format. According to a contract signed last year, they now control playoff format starting in 2026. They don't need any kind of vote or unanimous vote. Apparently, among the college playoff leaders, they control it all. So the fact that they don't agree would tell you there's a little bit of an impasse or kind of a stalemate here. And I think it probably will be several weeks, if not months, until we have some kind of resolution there. Right now, they're in the middle of studying how to make the selection process a little different. The SEC obviously wants strength of schedule and strength of conference to be more involved, and they seem to be creeping closer to that.
Right. Ross, thanks for the stuff, man. Great job this morning. Appreciate you hopping on.
See y'all.
Ross Dellinger on the Higginbotham Hotline talking some of the state of college athletics, where we are, where we're going. We'll get more on that from Brian Fisher in the next hour. More camp talk, amphitheater talk as well, next on Jox 94.5. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We have discussed amphitheaters, comedy shows, camps, campers. None of us really went to camp here much when we were kids. A lot of others have. My kid's heading to camp this week, so it's a big part of the conversation. Your biggest surprise in that discussion, GMAC, was?
That we still don't know exactly what the differences are between the camps.
You're just enthralled with the expensive camps and how much they actually cost.
No, I think it's great. I just am amazed at everything surrounding camp culture. I never went to camp.
Camp culture? What is
Camp
that
culture.
exactly?
Camp culture.
Like paddles, canoes, flip-flops, campfires,
know.
marshmallows.
If you got
What
a
is
camp-
camp culture?
You
I
got a
don't know.
culture killer at camp. They won't want to ride the paddles.
Fair.
They don't want to ride the canoes.
Totally fair.
Archery's not for me.
Don't want that.
I feel like not going to camp as a kid was like kind of devastating, but I didn't really know. You know what I mean? But it wasn't that bad because I didn't really know what I was missing. But now, like seeing all these kids, like, dang, I really would have liked camp.
Well, I mentioned the potential that I thought to myself of introducing Friday the 13th on Saturday night before we left. Did not go through with that. What's the best camp movie?
Heavyweights.
See, I haven't seen that.
I was
don't
gonna
know
say
what that is.
holes.
You haven't seen Heavyweights? It would really speak to you.
What does that mean?
It's in
It
the
probably
name.
would have done you some good as a kid.
It's in the name. It's a classic.
Is it a movie about fat camp?
What?
No, it's a movie to promote a slightly, better lifestyle.
He's basically saying fat camp. Yes, in layman's terms.
When I was
But
a
pretty
kid,
funny,
that was
though.
go outside and play. We didn't have a place they sent you for that.
You said
They told
fat.
you to go outside.
I
I
mean,
mean, I'm not going to say I didn't need one when I was a kid. Probably did.
didn't eat what?
That camp.
Didn't need it. I thought you said didn't eat it.
I said I'm not going to say I didn't need it when I was a kid. Probably did.
I heard
Could have
eat
used a
it.
little bit more. I could have used the sauna when I was a kid. A little bit extra.
But it would have changed your whole trajectory. You would have been,
Really?
a skill player.
Yeah.
You'd have
Because
gone-
us kids that love Oreos and McDonald's go to camp for a week and then we don't want to do that anymore. Trust me. That doesn't work. I still want it.
you would
To this day.
you'd have been a tight end.
To this day. Did see at the Barons game Saturday night. The line was too long. They had a little deal that was doing like a bushel of fried Oreos.
The old
But
bushel
the
of
lady
Oreos?
was like
Bushel.
the lady was like making them herself, and it was taking a long time. I was like, I really want to wait in line for those, but 5, 8, 10-year-old not waiting in that line for that. They're not having it. No.
It's gonna be some commotion.
Yeah. Also, like we were talking about with camp, and this is not just for here; this is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember going to events as a child, and it was maybe popcorn, like maybe a soda. The options are just endless these days.
They are.
It
You have
is
so many
unbelievable.
options. Like when it got real crazy as I was a kid, like going to events, it was like, dude, they have funnel cakes. Oh,
Funnel cake line was long too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like
I wanted to wait in
mind-blowing.
it.
Yeah.
Now you can get literally rotisserie chicken on top of a Gouda based salad. It's like I don't even know what this is.
I think we had, here's sort of the options: Dippin' Dots, soft serve ice cream, regular scooped ice cream, snow cones, and something else, like just the like ice cream / frozen dessert options.
We didn't have scoop ice cream.
That's at a minor league baseball game.
Yeah. But now you can get a hot dog that can be 6 inches, 8 inches, 12 inches, half pound. You can get a vegan hot dog. You can get nachos, no cheese. So basically you just want chips.
Just the chips.
Yeah, you can get
Sounds
I
painful.
say nachos, no cheese. I don't know what that is.
basically you just
You're not
call
allowed to call those nachos.
you
by
can
the
just
way.
order
Can't
them
do
like
that.
I'll just take plain nachos, please.
I did see the nachos at the amphitheater last night. They look pretty good. If y'all are going to fish, you're probably gonna need those. But what?
Yeah, they got some other ones coming too.
Yeah.
Jason Aldean.
Probably gonna need those.
Yeah.
So yeah. But either way,
But just chips?
you can't do that. No, not gonna have that. But there are just the options are. It's like when we went to a Braves game last year. They do the nachos in the batting helmet, but not the one that the ice cream comes in that we got at the Barons game Saturday night.
Ah.
an actual batting helmet that a first base coach would wear.
And
Like the batting helmet that John Olerud wore. Yes, that one, the real size one. Who's finishing that? Like who? I also think it was $72. So
yeah, you get
it's 4 meals
Makes
in
sense.
one,
It makes sense.
essentially.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to feed a family.
I mean, what more do you need?
What's the most ridiculous item of food you've had at a sporting event?
Oh gosh. Probably like
When I say ridiculous, this could go a lot of directions. It could be some mass. It could be something that's just a little bit out of the ordinary.
I mean, I'll be
What
honest
it
with you,
came
like,
in, because we see all these pictures of these different things at these ballparks. Like,
Like,
Detroit has the double extra large pizza with hot dogs and French fries on it.
You're talking about like
It's
sitting-
$169
you're
for your
talking about,
family.
like, sitting in
at a
bleachers.
game. At a
But
game.
in the bleachers. Because if you really think about it,
No,
in the
not
press
in the
box.
suite level, Greg.
Okay, well, in the press box. You said at a game.
I know, but
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
suite
yeah.
level they have food for us. It's usually not anything crazy though.
No, gosh, no. But it
Actually,
in
I
some
will.
cases-
I remember Adam Amin used to always tweet out pictures when he was doing NFL games on Sundays, and I think it's Minneapolis. I want to say it's Minneapolis. They do brunch in the press box every Sunday, and they have like an omelet station guy. I'm like, that is where it's at right there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
that is Minnesota nice is real. It's a real thing.
But no, I'm like attending a game in the stands. Yes.
Probably the craziest thing, I'm not going to lie, it's probably been in the last 4 or 5 years. So it's been recent with kids. And like when I go to a baseball game, I want a hot dog. That's all I care about. I don't want anything else. I'm going to eat a hot dog just because I don't think I've ever been to a baseball game and not had at least one hot dog ever in my life. But I will admit, going to Regions and like seeing some barbecue options,
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of barbecue does sound kind of good at a baseball game. Like, wait, can you put it in one of those plastic helmets? All right, now you really got my attention. Like, you can put barbecue on top of my ice cream. Oh, this is unbelievable. Can I get sprinkles on top of my barbecue? Like, just to make it like a full-fledged Southern Sundae? Like, we got action. Like, I'm all over it. Can you make a white barbecue sauce? Now you really got my attention. All right. Like, it's like there's the level of customization that we have at ball games now is what blows me away. It's because back in the day, it was like, you can get a hot dog and your options are hot dog, ketchup, mustard. And occasionally the relish is actually not empty. Now you can do whatever you want.
Absolutely.
I can get pulled pork from a Hawaiian luau that they flew in from Maui, off like whole hog pulled pork with pineapple drizzle.
Why would we here in Alabama need to fly in hog from Hawaii?
Because it's like that specialized.
The pineapple I
It's
could see
cooked in the ground.
It's wow.
It's like you can get a pineapple remoulade.
The dirt
on
marinated
top of it.
pork.
They did it in
The
right
old
field.
mud
So you can
hog.
actually see the pit in right field.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the craziest thing I've had at a game. Like I know I had in San Francisco the garlic fries, which is not really wild, but it was very different. And they were amazing, by the way.
I'm about to say.
But you had sushi options there, which just a summertime baseball game during the day doesn't feel like a good option.
It's San Francisco.
But it is San Francisco. It was San Francisco then. Now, awesome place to watch a game. But yes, but that would have been probably the strangest thing that I have had. And like I know at Bryant Denny, you can do the Dreamland nachos with the barbecue, which those are incredible. Love those. Certain places have those. I'm trying to think where else I've snagged those before. Because when I see those, I kind of have to have them. Because something about the barbecue sauce with the nacho cheese hits different.
It's just a mashup.
That hits different.
I'm with you. It's just there's just something about it.
And even if it's the old stale round Tostitos, like it doesn't matter.
Still gets the job
Doesn't
done.
matter.
I'm about to say.
You're good. I made the mistake last night. I did like the 3 pumps and went to the seats. And
Yeah.
It happened to be barbecue sauce instead of ketchup. Nothing wrong with the barbecue sauce there last night. It's just when that's not what you want,
It throws you off.
it's a bad day.
Yeah,
Throws you off.
that's all it is.
I asked my wife because we had the same thing. I was like, "Do you want to trade?" She's like, "No. Why?" I'm like, maybe you want a barbecue sauce to your fries. I don't. So half of them are done.
It's not ideal.
It's not for me right
Not
now.
right now.
It's not this terrible. It's just not what I wanted. I made that mistake.
Somebody texted in, as you can, as always, 205-834-9450. Have y'all had the junkyard dog at Neyland Stadium? It's a quarter-pound hot dog with baked bean sauce, chunks of ham, and onion on top. And it's in a little bowl because it's so big and messy. But it's delicious.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot.
I will admit, this is going to be a real hot take.
Oh, boy.
I am not like one of those people that is like head over heels baked beans. It's very weird because as a child, it was quite literally my favorite side. It was number one by a mile until I was about 15. And I don't know if I had like a bad batch, but it's changed ever since then.
Okay.
I have a harder time with them now, which is so unfortunate because they're so easy to cook. They're normally such a breeze. They're a fan favorite. Like you can go cook those at the lake or at the, in your afternoon and have people over to the house, cook baked beans. So easy. Everyone likes them.
Great way to run me off, by the way.
I'm struggling with them.
You don't eat baked beans?
I'll run for the hills. It's an immediate gag right now.
Really?
If you put a pot of baked beans on this counter, I would gag
It's
right
like,
now.
no, I can eat them.
I can't.
I'll tear them up.
Let's not get carried away. I mean, I can definitely eat them.
No, I can't. It's just, that's like bottom 5 food for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
See,
I
my
can't.
aunt, what she does, she puts ground beef and Kaneka sausage in her baked beans.
Congratulations. Can't do it.
It don't make no sense.
That's not like the Dreamland nachos where the cheese and the sauce bar just like takes everything else out of it, no matter what it is. No.
But baked beans,
No.
no.
Wow.
Wow.
Bottom 5 food for me personally. I know you guys like them. I'm not mad at y'all. That's great. But just for me personally,
No one's mad.
It's bottom 5.
No, I would never.
Black Eyed Peas be up there too. Also, not the band, the food.
Fair.
Not that Black Eyed Peas are top 5 band, but maybe not bottom 5 band. They're not that far down.
I got some bangers.
Couple catchy tunes. Yes. Couple folks are chiming in on camp movies. Mikey tweets in, "You got to watch Heavyweights. Tony Perkis, the top 3 character for Ben Stiller. What was he like? The camp?
Tony Perkis. He owns the camp.
He owns the camp.
The lighting king of Chicago.
I'm not familiar with his work. Hadn't seen the tape. I told you. The Unhipster tweets in, "I want a week at YMCA camp, grades and all in the 6th grade. None of the kids that week had ever been, so it looked like the caddies in the pool in Caddy Shack." There's people just losing their minds. Ron Selesky tweets in, "The best camp movie ever is Meatballs." End of discussion.
Me what?
Meatballs not bottom 5 food for me.
No,
By the way.
no, not at all.
Be all in on that. I'm kind of disappointed in our listeners because some of this ballpark food out there is ridiculous. We haven't had a lot of it. I feel like we need to get to work here, guys.
You think we're missing out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my thing is like some of these things that they serve at these games, if I were to indulge in that, I'd probably need to leave very quickly.
Listen to this. CJ just texted in. He said, at our local high school football games, they have a thing called a bird dog. It's a chicken finger in a hot dog bun with nacho cheese on it.
Different. I'm not going to say I'm be against it. It doesn't sound like something I'd order first, but
Right, but somebody
might
got
give
one.
it a shot.
Yeah. I've had a burger dog where it's a burger inside a hot dog bun.
So like 1/4 of the burger was actually in and the rest is just hanging out?
Yeah, it's basically a burger, but it was like kind of rolled up, like kind of like a hot dog. It's legit.
Not against it.
No, it's good.
Could be fine.
It's good.
Feels like something where they ran out of one or the other one night and said, "Let's
Just throw it in the buns,
Put it
man.
in the
Come on.
bun.
Put it in the hot dog bun.
You got hot dog buns back there."
Yeah.
Well, it's like in Father of the Bride where you can only buy 8 hot dogs, but you buy 12 hot dog buns. And like and George Banks loses his mind in the grocery store because he's got 8 hot dogs, but he has 4 extra buns. And he doesn't want to buy those 4 extra buns. He just wants the 8 hot dogs. It's a little bit like it's got a bit of a Curb Your Enthusiasm feel to it. Like, I don't want these superfluous hot dog buns. I need 8. Why am I paying for the extra 4?
That's a fair point.
So you just take those extra 4. Now you got you got burger dogs.
Yeah.
That's it.
Or
Okay.
chicken wing dogs.
I just want like these donut burgers
a
that are out
dog?
there, whatever it is. I want the craziest thing out there. I'm kind of like you. I love a hot dog at a baseball game. The other thing I like at a baseball game are a bag of peanuts. And my kids don't like to deal with it. So, like they don't think it's worth it. So I end up eating the whole bag myself.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't usually do that anymore because there's nobody. Usually I would get them like my dad would always get them. We'd share them. So you don't need a whole bag. Be dehydrated for 3 days. So can't do that. end up on the floor. But
Yeah.
if you need a new floor, who should you call, Greg?
That'd be Shannara Flooring. Shannara Flooring does a great job of making sure that they come in and treat your house, home with respect. And right now, it's still a phenomenal time to go and take advantage of the 40,000 square feet of CoreTech flooring that they have in stock right now. If you buy that CoreTech flooring from Shannara Flooring, you can get $5 off per box. CoreTech is 100% waterproof, pet-proof, and durable, so you can get a great deal on some of the best flooring around. But if you want to go with some other option, you can get 15% off flooring now through July 2nd. The savings start at $150. They only go up from there. There's 12 months financing with approved credit, and you can see it all online at fooandyou.com.
All right, so when we come back, Brian Fisher is going to join us. He has a warning for college football. Are we on the brink of pushing the fans further away? We'll let you decide after you hear what he has to say next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 8:19, Monday, June 23rd, Jox 94.5. We'll get to some recruiting news a little bit on the other side. We'll get also to LSU Coastal Carolina as the Tigers pick up a national championship. Further in the show, Kyle Peterson with us in an hour to discuss that. But Brian Fisher of Sports Illustrated joining us now on the Higginbotham hotline to discuss a little bit of what might be happening in college football. And Brian, you have a bit of a warning for the powers that be. right now in college football that they're on the brink of pushing people away with the indecisiveness of where this playoff is headed, how maybe long it's taking us for decide what it's going to be, where it's going to be, how it's going to work. What do you view as sort of what has to happen to maybe actually really impact college football viewership moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's been just honestly going on 2 years now, essentially of kind of punting this decision in terms of what the future of the postseason looks like for college football, and ultimately, I think that's going to have an impact for the casual fan. I think this was ultimately a system. If you kind of go back to a number of years ago in terms of when the creation of the college football playoff was kind of being bandied about, there was a lot of people saying, hey, this is going to be a way for this regional sport to become a little bit more national, to get some of those fans that maybe only follow the NFL, get interest in the sport that way. And, I think it did that to a certain extent. But in order to kind of take things to the next level, I think everybody kind of saw that the 12-teamer could really increase interest in the sport from a national level. And, I think we saw this past year, there was definitely some interest in terms of, Big 12 fans were suddenly staying up late, to kind of catch the action on the West Coast and vice versa in the SEC. And there was a lot of interest, in terms of what was happening in the ACC race. And I think the commissioners can kind of throw a lot of that away if they continue to keep punting on a decision that, frankly, is pretty straightforward in terms of what they got to do with this new college football playoff in 2026 and beyond. And I think you see this at the end of the year. Everybody kind of tries to tune out all this playoff conversation as much as they can, and then they kind of pop up and say, hey, wait a minute. We got 12 teams now. How does that work? And so I think the casual fan, they might not be following along quite as closely as some of us inside the college football industry have been in terms of a lot of these decisions being made about the future of the playoff. But, once they kind of come to the realization that the commissioners still have not had a format in terms of what's going on in the future, I think a lot of people are going to be scratching their heads and saying, hey, what is taking so long? And so I think that's kind of where we're at this point, especially after the recent meetings in Asheville.
What do you make of the fan interest during the season? I understand that while some of these conversations that you're referring to can absolutely be problematic for our success in the off season, but I still think during the season, interest is as high as I feel like it's ever been. So many people believing that they have a chance at making the playoffs. So, what do you make of the in-season aspect of the popularity?
Well, I think it certainly helps, but, it depends on what the ultimate format is. If we do move to that format to where there are automatic qualifiers, I would be very curious to see what the general fan interest is, knowing that, hey, the Big Ten has, a certain number of spots locked up in the playoff. If the SEC has a number of spots already locked up, I wonder if there is kind of an inverse impact on the fans' interest in the sport that has been building these last couple of years. I do think it has been notable. When you do talk with fans, I think there has been, whether it's what's happening in the ACC and in terms of that conference race. Obviously you saw conference championship game weekend. I think there was a tremendous amount of interest across the board, not just in terms of the ratings and people tuning into the normal places that you would want to go in terms of those major conferences like the SEC and the Big Ten and what's happening in those title games. But I think everybody was looking at how thrilling the Big 12 title game was. How interesting those races are throughout the season. And I think depending on what the commissioners do, if they continue to kind of hem and haw and kind of punt on things, I think just that general fan interest is going to be impacted. And that to me is the thing that they've got to keep in mind is, Greg Sankey kind of came out and had some pushback at SEC spring meetings in terms of, pushing back on people saying that they got to do some things for the good of the sport. Well, they do. The fact is, this is a decision that has to be made for the good of college football. And I think the fans that are following closely are a little bit annoyed. I know. I think even the commissioners are reaching that point in terms of the fact that they continue to have these meetings, not only monthly, but quite a bit regularly every week. And there's still not just the general consensus being reached. And I think that's going to ultimately spill out into the regular season if we continue to have these conversations going up to what amounts to a December deadline in terms of the future of the playoffs.
Brian Fisher joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You can find his work at si.com. Article up now, college football playoff resolution even further away after latest reset. How much further away are we? Where are the bigger disagreement points now than maybe where I'm going to take you back to probably pre-Destin SEC meetings, because it felt like a lot of things were beginning to align and a lot of folks were on the same page. Now that feels very different. Where have we grown furthest apart in all these discussions?
Well, it is such a moving target right now. You kind of go back, like you said, before spring meetings, and it did seem like there was a little bit of a consensus between the Big Ten and the SEC. And obviously they have control over what the format is going to be, moving forward past 2025. And to me, I think that, the athletic directors got together twice, before spring. And I think there was kind of, some general consensus. Oh, you know what, this AQ format, all right, that would be, preferable, at this point. Maybe not everybody's on the same page, but everybody was kind of moving towards that consensus. And, I think since spring meetings, and especially since the coaches, really got involved in terms of voicing their opinion, it does seem like there's been momentum now around this kind of 5 automatic qualifiers, 11 at-larges, in a 16-team field. And I think that's kind of been these last couple of weeks, everybody's saying, you know what, that does sound like it could be a pretty good format, even though it wasn't necessarily being talked about, amongst those commissioners, amongst those ADs, amongst the really kind of the college football folks that are really involved in this decision making, really leading up to that spring meetings. And so I think that's been the biggest change recently is that that 5 and 11 format has really gathered a lot of momentum. And, ultimately we'll see. I think that there's still some pushback with the Big Ten. I think they've kind of thought, hey, wait a minute, we really kind of gathered around this automatic qualifier bids that gives 4 to us, gives 4 to the SEC. Everybody else gets divvied up as well, and we can kind of move forward from there. But I think now that the SEC, especially out of spring meetings, has kind of said, you know what, this 5 and 11 also sounds pretty interesting. Let's explore that further. That's kind of really set everything back a couple of weeks now, and so. There's an impasse. There's no doubt about it, and we'll see ultimately. I think this is a decision where everybody else in the sport's kind of starting to gather momentum around one format. We'll see if the Big Ten, whether they're going to continue to hold out, what that ultimately leads to. But that's kind of where we're at right now, and I don't think we got any momentum in terms of coming out of the meetings last week, and so we're kind of back into square one essentially in terms of all right, do we go back to 12 teams? That's still on the table now, which I don't think everybody was talking about a couple of months ago. So it's fascinating to see the palace intrigue around this, but at the end of the day, somebody has to make a decision, and ultimately everybody would love to have something to announce before media days, or else they're going to just continue to get asked about it. And I think they're reaching that point where there's still not the general consensus to where, hey, we can move forward with this kind of format.
What do you think what would the pushback be if they stayed at 12? I mean, because I think 12's perfectly fine. Do I think expansion will likely work? Yeah. Do I think that's ultimately where we'll end up? Sure. But at the end of the day, I still think the bye weeks, once we figured that out, 12 could work really, really well. So they're kind of waiting and seeing how this year goes now that they've reseeded everything. And if they do, and if it works out better, do you think that could maybe even create more momentum for maintaining the 12?
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing is that, it seemed like you go back to like February and March, that kind of time frame. It seemed like 12 was kind of dead and buried in terms of kind of the momentum around staying around that. Yes, there was definitely the talk about going to straight seeding, and honestly, they kind of got over the line on that. But, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I think you look at like the lack of data points. We only had 1 year of the 12-teamer. We're only going to have 1 year of 12 teams with straight seeding. So at least let the playoff breathe a little bit, and I think there is, maybe some realization, hey, maybe we should do that. I think there is going to be certainly some decisions in terms of, what expansion looks like. Do you get more teams involved? Does it make those conference title games races? And look, from a lot of the athletic directors, you talk with, obviously, that playoff is going to have a big impact in terms of how you're scheduling. Now, a lot of these series have been locked in. Some teams have been able to back out of certain games here and there, but the fact of the matter is, there was a lot of ADs out there scheduling, thinking that, all right, well, if we finish in the top 3 or 4 of our league, we'll be okay in terms of make the playoff. Now is that going to be more in jeopardy if we stay at 12 versus if we have those kind of extra wiggle room going to 16? And so I think there's definitely some spillover effects, but I think it's even surprised me a little bit in terms of how much 12 teams has kind of come back onto the table as more of a discussion point. But again, that's punting the decision kind of further down the road in terms of if they were to stay at 12, maybe for 2026. I think ideally between both the playoff and kind of ESPN and their broadcast partners, they would like some clarity in terms of, all right, this is the system for the next couple of years. And I think whether they stay at 12, whether they do kind of move towards 16, I think that's still kind of up for debate at this point.
Brian, any aspect of this situation as it pertains to the playoff? Because the main reason we had you on is the potential impact of viewership. And us having this conversation now, the last 3-4 off seasons, and conversations similar to it, be it portal, be it coaches leaving, be it NIL, whatever it is, has obviously boosted the popularity of the sport. What would be the worst case scenario with just how this playoff format could go that you feel like could negatively impact viewership the most?
I think if it just keeps changing. I think if we have, essentially, kind of 3 formats in 4 years or four formats in 5 years, like that sort of change, and although it might be viewed as incremental by some, I think just, fans want to get used to something and they're not getting used to things. I think they just kind of, as tough as it is to say, I think they only just now kind of came around to, having a playoff in the sport and having 4 teams. And then now there's this move to 12. And I think that did juice interest, I think not only nationally, but I think, everybody, saw the playoff for what it was, and had a lot of interest in a lot of those games. It produced some big time matchups, and if you can continue to do that and kind of stack that momentum year after year after year, I think it's going to be good for the sport. And I think if you continue to tweak, you continue to change. You can even look at other sports, in terms of, all right, they make a tweak, whether it's baseball, adding the wild card. I think that guy kind of got a lot of fans, it took some time to get them used to things. Certainly the NFL adding another wild card. Everybody was talking about the decision. I think everybody's kind of a little bit lukewarm on it, and then kind of came around to it. College football has to kind of make the decision, stand by it more than anything, and then kind of move forward. And because it is about that college, that casual fan. We know the folks down in the SEC and the Ohio State fans out there, the Michigan fans, the USC fans, whoever follow their program closely. They're going to be invested in the sport no matter what. But if you want to grow, like you want to grow college football, and they keep talking about making this more of a national sport, making this a bigger entity than it is, you're going to have to stick by something and coalesce around it and certainly promote it, and so that you can get used to where things happen on the calendar. You can get that momentum going in from conference championship week, into that first round. And so I think adding things, on-campus games, that's been a great thing for the sport. Everybody understands that spectacle. Now, can you make things even bigger than that? And, sticking with a certain format, I think that's going to be big moving forward for college football. And ultimately, that's on the hands of the commissioners right now in terms of making that decision and, doing what's best for the sport.
Absolutely. Brian, great stuff, man. Thanks for hopping on. It's an interesting thought, and we have no idea really where we're headed, so we'll see. But appreciate you joining us. We'll talk again soon. Absolutely.
Good to be on with you guys.
There you go. Brian Fisher of Sports Illustrated joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. At Brian D. Fisher. Can follow him on Twitter. That link up, si.com, if you want to read about where he thinks the potential viewership of college football is headed. We'll discuss it on the other side. I think it's an intriguing thought. I don't know how real either side of it is, be it changing will help grow, or the flip side of that of if you changed it even more, is it going to continue to hamper it? Because there's one thing that Greg and I will be able to share with you that statistically we know for a fact that was shared with us late last year. We'll do that on the other side. First, Greg, tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services.
Well, Wes and the guys have been coming to my house to fix a whole host of issues for a very, very long time. Already this year, they've helped me with my HVAC system that wasn't working. They've also done an amazing job of getting out and helping me with the shower that was leaking. I mean, I just call them for everything. Now that they've added electrical and plumbing, so many of my problems around the house can be solved by making just one phone call, and that's to Polar Bear Services. Wes and the guys, you want to make sure your system's ready. We're going to have triple-digit temperatures here arriving in no time whatsoever. You want to make sure your system is ready to be put to the test that it will be put through here in a hot southern summer. So give them a call today, and I promise you, you'll be really pleased with the experience that you have. So remember, if you have a problem with your heat or electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
Are any of these changes affecting your viewership? If it continues to change, if they can't settle on something, would that affect how much college football you will consume? Greg and I have some numbers that might be able to back up what Brian is saying. Some evidence that we were given late last year that has to do with the viewership of college football and the knowledge of the system. We'll share that right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8:39, Monday, June 23rd, Jox 94.5. Listen online, joxfm.com. App is in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can always go download that for free, and you can always watch live on YouTube each and every morning.
Bill Smith Buick GMC continues to just blow me away with some of the deals that they can offer with some of the largest discounts that you've ever seen. And all you got to do is take the short drive to Coleman, I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. You'll see the deals that I'm talking about. There's a reason why they've been named the GMC Dealer of the Year 5 years in a row and why they've won it 8 times overall to be number 1 in the entire country. According to General Motors, tells you all you need to know about the experience that you'll have when you shop at Bill Smith's. You go get yourself a brand new GMC Sierra 2500. That's the 2500 Denali Ultimate, the nicest truck you can possibly buy. $96,435 is the list price. You can get it for $7,000 off the sticker, meaning you can get that vehicle. Sometimes you had to pay 6 figures for that vehicle. You can get it for $89,435. It's deals like that that keep people coming back. That's why 75% of their business is repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. So short drive to Coleman, you'll be glad you did. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, Brian Fisher just joined us, and he's talking about the potential drop in viewership, popularity, interest of college football if this system continues to change. I think most of us, the way that we think, college football diehards, so to speak, Greg, Damian, myself, most of the guys that come in here to work every day, you could literally make it a different number of team playoff every year, and it will affect our viewership 0.
Correct.
Might actually increase it because, now we want to know what's going to happen with this aspect of it.
Yes.
Or is this going to change over here? But for a lot of folks that don't consume it the way that we do, I do think Brian has a point as to how it could change. Greg and I were presented some numbers late in the season last year from some surveys that ESPN did. I don't have those exact numbers in front of me, but I think Greg will agree with me that they were absolutely astounding when we were given the number of people surveyed that had no idea how many teams were in the playoff, had no idea how teams qualified for the playoff, had no idea if certain teams from certain conferences were guaranteed a spot in the playoff, didn't know how many rounds it was, didn't know where they were going to be played. Greg, you, I assume, like me, when you saw some of those numbers towards the end of last season now fans were still interested.
Of course.
But asked further detail as to how it operated, many of them that actually watched college football had absolutely no clue.
Yes. It's kind of amazing. I'm actually looking for the numbers right now. You have a lot of audience tiers. You have a lot of fan bases that are well represented, as you can probably imagine. But one thing that is very difficult amongst teams, amongst fans, is that the focus is shifting away from the team and that college sports are being somewhat professionalized. That turns people off. That is a concern. But I do think it's really important to acknowledge that some of the things that we're experiencing here in the near term, minor disruptions, if I were to call them that, are actually going to be better off long term because it could lead to more high-level, high-profile games, more playoff games, perhaps, more rivalries that are being created. Like Clemson and Notre Dame don't have a rivalry, but they're going to play every single year because it's going to end up being pretty good here starting in about 2 or 3 years. So that will happen intentionally, unintentionally. There are things about it that make sense. I think there's a lot of things to believe with evaluating some of these teams and evaluating some of these changes. We are not going to look the same. It's not going to be exactly the same, but it's still going to be really, really good. Still going to be really, really consumable. But you'd be amazed at how few people know anything about our sport. Like for those listening to our show, yes, you know there's 12 teams. You probably know there's a college football playoff committee that selects those 12 teams. You probably know that Texas and Oklahoma are in the SEC. You probably know that the 4 teams on the West Coast are in the Big Ten. Like you probably know those things, but you'd be amazed at how few people do that would consider themselves, quote, fans of college football. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
But does that part of it maybe lead you, because I don't think you and I, if we ever had the conversation, would be able to convince ourselves that a changing or ever changing college football playoff format is going to hurt viewership. But having had access to those numbers, does that make you a little bit more open to say, yeah, if we keep messing with this, I could see where some people would just say, I'm not near as interested as I have been?
No, I don't think it's going to change. I really don't. I do think that we need to make changes to the playoff. Like, we need to just say, hey, guess what? We're putting our playoff games on ABC, and we're going to go toe-to-toe with the NFL. Like, if that means we're playing on Saturdays, we're playing on Saturdays.
Okay.
Like, I think at some point we're going to have to get to that point. I don't want to get to that point, but I think we have to consider the possibility of, hey, having 12 days between the semifinals and the championship is not good for business. It's not. We have to maintain some momentum. We don't get round-the-clock coverage during the NFL playoffs. We don't. People want to cover the NFL playoffs. I get that. It's the biggest show in town. But we need to carry over from one week to the next. Like, the fact that the playoffs last year started on December 20th and finished on January 20th is entirely too long. Going, in some cases, 28 days from the end of the regular season to when you next see your favorite team play in the Rose Bowl, if you're the Oregon Ducks, in the Sugar Bowl, if you're a fan of the Georgia Bulldogs, to go that long is not good at all. So we have to, I think, be strategic with how we schedule these games, more so than figuring out the best way to get the best format as much as anything else. I think they both really, one hand can I think the tail wags the dog in that situation.
Sure. Damian, for you, that's not going to change your viewership at all, is it?
Not at all.
I could see where if for folks that are a little less interested or have a little bit of a lighter interest than we do, if it didn't settle and it did continue to change and there was this constant conversation about how different it was going to be, I do think that their opportunity for them to watch more or become more interested then goes away. So maybe if you wanted to reverse it, Greg, and say, could this hamper the popularity or increase popularity or increase the numbers of viewership, it would be able to work against that. We'll finish that conversation on the other side next. Mac and Cube in the morning. Monday, June 23rd, 8:51 a.m. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Live on YouTube each and every day. Just search Jox 945. You can go watch the show back or watch the show live there if you need to. We're going to move on with this conversation on viewership, ratings, popularity of college football, if it does or does not continue to change the playoff format. But if you need to move out of your home, Greg, who do you call?
That'd be Crocker Moving Service. They're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movies you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. Whether it's your whole home packed up, move your company headquarters, move across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Service for your next move.
All right, so if this does continue to change, there are different aspects of how, why the popularity would increase or decrease. A lot of people are going to be on sides with us and saying, we're going to watch it either way. It doesn't really matter. Jody D tweets in, at Mac and Cube, you can always be a part of the show there. Totally agree with Greg. College football playoff games and championship games need to be in ABC on Saturdays. NFL be damned. Jeremy Raines tweets in, more high-stakes games equals more betting equals more viewers. I don't think any of us disagree with that. I think it's more along the lines of if the more fringe fans didn't know which games were more high-stake, didn't know which games were going to impact the playoff race or not impact the playoff race, then they don't know to tune into them or not. They don't know if Boise has a chance to play in, so do I go watch that game on Saturday night or vice versa? So that's the aspect of it, I think, that he looks at and says, yeah, that could actually maybe work against the sport if we get a little further down the road and, okay, now we're going to have automatic bids from conferences. Well, now it's more, actual teams that don't necessarily have to win their league to get in. That's where, Greg, I think it could begin to impact some things.
Yeah, I can understand that. I do think we are going to continue to progress pretty significantly when it comes to fans understanding the postseason format. I mean, when we started this 12-team playoff last year, nobody knew anything. When they started the 4-team playoff in 2014, nobody knew anything. In the BCS era at the beginning, they're like, wait, they're using computers to determine who the best teams are? Like, what? So we have gone through this before, and it has not at all impacted viewership. If anything, it's actually made it more consumable, and it has made it more popular. So I'm still remain optimistic, but I get very much that there are probably, some questions about maybe the transition into what might be kind of a new looking college football in the years to come.
Absolutely. And we just don't really view the potential of popularity going down, because if it's one team playoff, 101 team playoff, we're going to watch it. We just are. We're going to be excited about it. We're going to be into it, and we're going to look at it as something that we're always going to take in. Now, how the teams get in, that specifically, I just don't see people saying, well, if the SEC is not getting their automatic bids, I'm not watching college football anymore.
Well, some people say they are. I don't believe them.
But I would view it more on the other side of, if the Big Ten and the SEC continue to get more guaranteed bids, that's where some people who are fans of other leagues would say, is this even worth tuning in for?
Right.
Like, why are we watching?
Yeah.
But then again, at the end of the day, I think that would take some people to that place mentally, but are you really going to stop watching?
But you know what you have in that scenario?
Like, you go into your book club on Saturday all of a sudden? Like, all of a sudden you're going to go on a hike?
Mahjong.
That is
Saturday
fair.
Maj.
And I forget to the extent that has taken our planet over. So maybe that is it, where you look at it and say, with the revival or the growth of Mahjong,
yes,
the college football playoff is now in jeopardy if they continue to change, because that's where everyone's time and energy then goes.
Probably should.
Or maybe watching Meatballs, or what was the other movie we talked about? Heavyweights. That one too.
Heavyweight reruns. I don't think
maybe that's where the camps are missing out. You need to start fall weekend camps for people that are trying to not watch college football.
Yes. That's where they're going to feel it for sure.
The too many teams in the playoff camp. Saturdays, Winnetoska, Cosby, and Alpine, wherever they are.
Yeah, but guess what?
What are you going to do this weekend? Well, I'm sick of college football, so I'm going to go kayak and climb ropes. in the woods.
Well, guess what, though?
And it only cost $17,000 for the fall.
No, for those 2 days.
Oh,
Yeah.
that too.
The SEC and the Big Ten are the heel. The little guys, the Cinderella, the David. You don't think they're going to watch?
Maybe.
Of course they're going to watch.
LSU wins a title next. Hour number 3 underway. Jox 94.5. We have discussed college football playoff TV ratings. Could they go up or down if the format continues to change? We talked camps. We talked amphitheaters, concert food, ball game food.
We're all over the place.
It's been a great
today.
show today.
We have done it all.
Completely random.
Nothing we can't do.
Yeah, just off the rails. Similar to Matt Rife last night, who completely just went a lot of different places. I don't think he was expecting to go. Great show, though. And the amphitheater is incredible. Coca-Cola Amphitheater, if you hadn't been. Well, if you didn't go last night, you haven't been.
I'm about to say, how many people have been that didn't go last night?
There was a worker that stopped us in on the way, and she's like, "Can I help you get to your seat?" And I said, "Yeah, I've never been." And she's like, "I know, it's the first time." I was like, "Yeah,
you don't say."
We didn't get the preliminary tour of where our seats were going to be. Thank you. Easy in and out, though. Great venue, good food options. Love the layout. It's awesome. Now, the acoustical aspects, I don't.
Why do you keep talking about that? Is that like a thing?
When they built the one in Huntsville, people were raving about the next day. I think it was Fish that performed first. And like, oh, but the acoustics, guys, you're not going to believe the noise and the sound. It just stays in there. Like any of you are even with it when you're watching it. And you have any idea. That's probably why the acoustics were so good.
Yep. Imagine that.
So half these places probably do is like hand out acid on the way in and be like, talk about how good the acoustics are when you leave, please.
Perfect.
God, it just travels in your brainwaves in a different way.
It's amazing.
It really does.
I can't believe it's able to do that.
You won't believe the sound of this guitar at this place. It just bounces off the walls. Just play the music. Honestly, if it's your favorite band, does it matter if it's an amphitheater, a rave theater,
could care less,
Homewood High School Theater?
Doesn't
Just
matter.
play the music I want to hear.
I'm here for Nelly and Nelly only.
Only if Chingy opens
Yeah.
and joins on
You want to
stage.
hear the reverb from right there.
Yeah, you don't even
See
care
how-
about the humidity when you're in the place because it sounds so good. Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com. It's hard to stop a Trane. I was notified via text that the air conditioning, Greg, is one of the biggest differences at said camps you're referencing.
Worth every penny then.
Double?
Quadruple.
How much would you pay for air conditioning?
You cannot put a price tag on it.
Actually, you can.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can.
There's only two
Train
things-
just said that.
there's only two things
It's
I
the most
need in life.
affordable, but you absolutely can put a
can
price
put a
tag.
price
It does
tag.
cost something.
The only thing I need in life is air and water.
That's it.
Don't even need food. And when I say air, I'm not talking oxygen. I'm talking about air conditioning.
That's good.
If you listed priorities of luxuries to be taken away, where's air conditioning? And how
It's-
much does the month of the year affect it? Because in the fall, it's probably going to be electricity / streaming / cable / internet, somewhere along those lines. And it's not as hot, at least
Right.
the last 2 months. The first 2 months still pretty damn
good.
hot.
Internet's definitely one of those that is highly important. Now at camp, I can certainly live without it. Doesn't bother me too bad. But
But no AC?
no AC, I got problems. At night, I got problems.
Does the reason you say you can live without internet is because you have DirecTV? Like you're one of the 11 people
never
left that
said-
actually has a dish on your roof that
I've never
gets your
said
television?
I do have a dish in my backyard, but I don't have
Do you go point at different directions when the clouds are coming in?
yes,
You
obviously.
swing it. Is on a swivel.
Why wouldn't I?
Get that thing over the western satellite. There's clouds coming.
Hook it
Rain's here.
up. Hook it
We
up.
got to get that going to different satellite because it's not picking up.
I don't know why you're down on it. DirecTV is great, but what I don't understand is why you're trying to act like you can live without internet. I can't live without
No, I
internet.
thought you just said I can do without internet. Air conditioning, I
at
cannot.
camp, I can. Like I don't need if I go to camp, I don't need to be in touch with anything back at home.
Just nature.
Yeah.
Just nature.
Like I'm there for a reason. I volunteered to sleep outside, basically.
As long as I got bug spray.
Internet or bug spray? For cold.
Where am I? Where am I?
At camp.
Bug spray.
False.
I'm not gonna have internet anywhere. I was there yesterday. I couldn't even check the score of the LSU game. My 5-year-old kept asking me who's winning the game. I'm like, I can't get it. We're in the woods.
But what if there's like a
He wants to watch the game walking around at camp. I'm like, this not what this is for. It's completely ass backwards to do that right now.
It's worth
So
a try.
stop asking.
It's
I
worth
feel
a
like
try.
Saban, my kid yesterday.
It's worth a try for him to at least ask that.
Loves ball.
And then we get in the car, the game's over. Well, the Dodgers playing? Yeah, they are. He got to watch the Dodgers on the way home.
There we go.
We do have the MLB package. That is a luxury that we pay for. Actually, I'm not going any further with that. We have it. Access to it.
Oh gosh, so you've good to know that Cole steals the MLB because all those poor owners
Steals the MLB.
feel bad for him.
Odyssey tweets in.
the MLB network.
Odyssey
Unreal.
tweets in. People who talk about acoustics for a Fish concert can probably see the music and hear colors at the concert too. Brandon
Yep.
from Leeds.
It's a little strange.
It's well said.
I don't know.
love-
Some concerts you can see the colors. Like I think the first.
Well,
I don't know. Would you call this a
He
concert?
said see music, hear colors.
You're right.
I was like,
I would
Both.
like to hope that you could see the colors.
Hear that orange over there, man?
That orange over there ripping.
What is
go?
What's the best sounding color you think?
Best sounding color? Probably,
Crimson.
Tar Heel blue.
It's the softest.
Well, no, they don't win because they're soft.
It's the softest.
Yeah, but it's easy on the ears.
Red seems like the go-to though. Some shade of red.
But
Maybe
red is
scarlet.
blood. Red could
Red's
be death.
aggressive.
That could be death.
Yeah, red is aggressive. I think blue is the most calming, soothing.
I mean, what kind of concert are you
Blue.
going to?
I don't know. I'm not trying to like go into the mosh pit, and
Well, some concerts you are.
not often. No,
Yeah.
don't do a lot of that.
Based on the setup, Coca-Cola Amphitheater mosh pit could be massive. Could be huge.
Could be.
That's like green. Seems very mellow.
I think green is closer to blue than red.
Yeah.
But
Okay, top 3 luxuries though right now, if they were to be removed, which is last? Or top 5? Like if you, I don't know what we're putting here. Like if we put shelter, that's probably 1.
Yeah.
Like air conditioning's great without a place to put it in. Like you just walk around with a personal AC unit.
people probably try to sell those.
Oh no, they
They
got
have.
neck fans now.
I've seen those neck bands.
Neck bands?
They do
Is that how they
work.
play music around your neck when you walk
They
around?
literally like you put that thing around. You have like fans blowing air into your face.
Oh no, we got them. Wife bought them for Disney a couple years ago.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
You wore one of those?
No, she has them though. I didn't wear one. The kids wouldn't give it to me.
The kids were rocking them.
It wasn't by choice.
Absolutely.
Unreal.
It's like, what are we doing?
Got to keep your body temperature cool, man.
I think it all depends on one time of year.
What month? Did
Time
you
of
go?
year is
What month
most
did you go
important.
Disney?
The hottest. At least it felt like it.
What?
That's
I don't know
February.
what month is spring break in. I
anywhere
don't know.
between March and November.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been to Disney on the first day of the year and sweated my rear end off. So let's not act like it's ever cozy down there.
Soft.
You can catch it on a cool day.
There might be cool days, but there are also blazing hot days in every month.
Oh, soft. I'm really disappointed in you. You wearing the neck thing is concerning.
Okay, we have people that are texting in about mahjong.
Excuse me?
Yeah, because it rocks.
Oh, boy.
I love that people are finally coming around to it.
Who? Who
The
are these
world.
people? Who are these people?
The moms.
Literally the world.
I haven't seen it.
All right.
Here's what I got. Just so you know, I'm going to a mahjong tournament in New Orleans in November, and I made sure it wouldn't interfere with college football viewing.
So he's going on like a Tuesday.
Is that from Kat?
Yes.
So, he's going
So you're not into action and you're going on a Wednesday.
right. Oh, okay. Priorities.
You're going on a Tuesday or Wednesday. You're not interested in watching CUSA during the week.
It would be
No,
hilarious if we got one of those from our wives. Hey, by the way, football season, you got to make sure we have a sitter for when you leave.
Yeah,
'cause
you
I have
can't go
mahjong.
out of town third weekend of November because we're going to mahjong.
I have a
tournament.
mahjong tourney.
Mahjong.
Hope you're taking the kids because I'll probably be in Lexington.
What makes you say that?
Yeah.
It just usually goes that way.
Safe bet.
Unhipster tweets in AC and a big old can of off are a must to me if you're going to be at camp. Cabin 2, no tent. I did ask my wife this question on the way back. Like, do people still really camp out?
What's that supposed to mean?
Like a tent?
Yes.
You
Tent.
know people that go camping in a tent.
Me?
Personally, yes.
No, I don't know anybody that does.
Who's the
but I
last
know
human
people.
you spoke to that went and spent the night somewhere in a tent?
100%.
And my reasoning for this, by the way, is really dumb, but you'll probably all get it when I tell you
What, bears
that
and
I don't
bugs?
think this. No.
We absolutely have.
A lot of people that do this. I'm not talking about an RV.
Right.
I'm not talking about a camper. I'm not talking about a
No,
motorhome.
I'm talking about sleeping in a sleeping bag in a tent.
Like
Oh,
they
Lord.
park at the entrance and then they hike miles, whatever it is, and spend the night there. Minus people trying to climb Everest also,
They're 100%.
which my son told me this weekend is a life goal of his. I'm like, good luck with that, kid. By the way, how many people do you think have done it?
climbed Mount Everest.
Yeah, because that was the original
I don't
question.
know, like 1,000.
I wasn't even going to say that. I was going to say like maybe 120.
120 and 1,000?
Like make it to the top, like the peak of Mount
No,
Everest?
definitely more than that.
I have to look it up again.
Anyways, yes, there are definitely people that go out
Yeah, this
in
is
a
what
tent.
this is what I thought. As of December 24, approximately 7,269 different climbers have successfully reached the summit, Damien, of Mount Everest.
Okay.
A total of 12,884 times.
Wow.
He said, "Can you die?" I was like, "Yeah."
1,000%.
Yeah. A lot of different ways, too. And not that monster on the ride at Animal Kingdom that we saw is not one of the ways. I mean, actually, it might be, but I don't believe that that's one of the ways.
I think I think there's a lot more people that are willing to camp like that than you realize.
I don't know the last human that I met that went camping and spent the night in a tent.
You live
And
in
here's why
Homewood.
I don't
There's
think-
absolutely people that are living in Homewood.
I
and/or
did it when I was a
Vestavia,
kid.
and/or Mountain Brook, and/or over the mountain, and/or Pelham.
See, I
that will
disagree that there's
100%
as
do
many as you think, because I've seen those little Sprinter vans with the gas tanks on the back and the ski racks on the top, and they're sleeping in those. They're not sleeping in a tent. They're sleeping in that thing.
Also known as glamping.
Yeah, that's not sleeping in a tent. If you can pull it or it drives, that's not sleeping in a tent. I'm talking, you gotta, like, I have a tent. We have one. I set up for my kids in the backyard sometimes. They want to play in it or think they're going to spend the night in it, then they don't.
Shocker.
I've set that thing up.
People.
I think the
absolutely
amount
do
of people that yes, there are, but I'm saying bare minimum.
Yeah, I don't think it's many.
that. I think there's more than you think.
No.
People want to be one with nature.
Do you want to know the reason that I don't think this really happens?
Why?
Or why I would never do it?
I would love
It's
to
the
know.
podcast I listen to.
What is that?
I listen to way too many murder podcasts.
Okay. See, like I'm not
Half these
It all
things take
starts with
place.
the
Half
camping
these
trip.
things take place in the woods,
Yeah. Somebody's going on a hike.
and there's a lot more of these things taking place than you think.
Okay, well, not necessarily.
Yeah,
That's a rational fear.
there are, because you're getting true stories of this. Really, I mean, I listened to 2 that happened in Alabama in the last month that I had not even heard about.
What, S-Town?
I feel like that I consumed that one a little ways back, but
Honestly, you're
some kid down in like Op or whatever, like, got accused of killing his parents. I didn't even know this happened. I never even heard about it. He didn't do it. At least he says he did.
Yeah, they're all innocent until proven guilty.
Well,
But you got to explain this to me. Why would you feel the need at this point in your life? Seriously, this is why I won't do it. I have literally worked my tail off in order to avoid sleeping in a tent. Why am I going to volunteer to sleep in a tent? And I have no problem.
I can
with anybody
envision
that
you
does.
now outside the football facility at Alabama running your 110s. Like, I ain't never sleeping in no damn tent.
I'm not going back.
I ain't going back to it.
No tents in my future.
That was the mindset.
Greg, you've really been putting the work in, man. What's going on? You want to sleep in a tent?
To me, structure is a form of luxury. Shelter is a form of luxury.
It is.
I feel like I've earned that at this point in my life. Going on 40,
Don't need it.
there's a time when it'd probably be kind of fun. Go sleep in a tent somewhere.
Yeah, when I was 7.
After one of my proms, I slept in a tent.
What?
Well, that was
Yeah.
probably because there just weren't many other options.
There literally weren't any other options. Like literally,
They don't let you book a hotel room when you're 17. Trust me, I've tried.
Yeah, there were literally no other options. So like, all of us went to our boy's house. Like he only had like 3 bedrooms at his house. So like, some of us just had to bring tents. It was fine.
We're so dumb. We went to like 7 different hotels. Can I have your ID? Yeah. No.
It was quick.
What? You gotta be 21 to do that. Huh? By the way, how dumb is
Says
it?
who?
How dumb is it that you have to be older to rent a car than a hotel
Than
room?
A hotel room.
I guess you could do more damage in a car than a hotel room. Probably makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of responsibility to
I feel
the
like there's
other
responsibility
motor
of both.
vehicle.
Right.
You fit a lot more people in my hotel room than I can in my car. I guess it depends on what car you rent.
It depends what you got.
But less likely dying in a car or dying in a hotel room. I don't know. But I think cars probably
More likely dying in a tent overnight.
That is true.
I would say car 1, hotel room 2, tent overnight 3.
Let's count the ways that you can get got. Car, hotel room, tent. There's no bear getting me in a hotel room.
That's what you think.
I hope not.
No.
Go
Not
stay in
happening.
Teton Valley. They got bears climbing on
There's
windows.
no pit viper biting me in a hotel room.
Nope.
That
You hope not.
also very possible.
I'm saying. Scorpion biting a car. Not happening.
That could happen too. Go live in Arizona.
The chances are slim, but there's always a possibility.
Slipping off the ledge on a hike. Not happening in a car.
Nope.
Not having a hotel room.
Nope.
I think there's definitely cars in the past. That have gone
Mudslide
over
taking me
ledges.
out. Not happening in a hotel room. I mean, unless you're in like Chattanooga.
Gotta say that
Lookout
could definitely happen
Mountain.
too.
To be careful.
Jason Holt tweets in, I do it because I want my kids to disconnect, plus my boys love nature. I do carry an air mattress because I couldn't walk the next morning. But
See?
you're saying you sleep in an actual tent. I need to know where you set tent up. Is it just random place? Like you decide on your hike, this is it. This is our beach right here on the river, whatever it is. Or do you go to a spot that has it like cut out, like where you would park your camper? I just don't know. I don't have the resources to know about it. No one's ever taught me. I guess my parents failed me. They didn't teach me how to pitch a tent and where to do it. I honestly just don't know how you set it up and where.
I mean,
800-239-9569.
this looks like a good
The
spot.
people need to know. That's what I'm asking. Do you just is this Oregon Trail and you just say,
This is it.
let's set up here? You plant your flag for the night?
Just take a peek at your
What if someone
surroundings and
wants
go.
your spot
Yeah, and
after
then
you
go,
set up?
and then you go hunt buffalo.
They come in there and just kick your fire over and it's like, it's our spot now.
I don't
Or
know.
did the camping outlaws come in and just like move you over to
Camping
spot?
outlaw.
I feel like there's other ways to disconnect. Not doubting, but there's got to be. How about I just take your freaking phone?
Boom.
Jason says he goes to campgrounds. There's a ton of places around Tuscaloosa.
See, people
See,
do
Greg?
it.
Yeah. So yeah, you avoided it.
I've been trying to tell you.
There are other ways to disconnect, but I mean, if you like to fish, if you like to hike, I mean, that's obviously you get all this in one. Maybe you like s'mores. You can do this more efficiently.
You
without
can't do s'mores unless
setting
you
your house
camp.
on fire.
Yeah. The only way you can ever do s'mores is if you are sleeping in a tent.
This is the only way that I've known. They taste better out there, though. I mean, I think that's fair. We all know that. Steven on a cell wants to talk camping. Welcome in, Steven.
Hey, guys. So my family goes to Cherokee, North Carolina every year. And my in-laws have a camper and all this stuff like that. So a couple of years ago, my wife was like, we're going to sleep in a tent.
Oh, boy.
I was like, I was not a Boy Scout for a reason. You know, I don't do outside. You know, I have La Quinta points for a reason. You know,
Yes.
and everything like that. She's like, we're going to take the tent and all this stuff like that. So yeah, we slept in the tent. It's June. First day I wake up, it is 49 degrees. I'm in shorts and a sweatshirt drinking coffee while everybody else is asleep. Now, granted, we've got a space heater in the tent, and then we've also got an oscillating fan in there too. That's running off the power from the camper. Because I'm like, look, if we got to be up here, A, I need TV because I got to keep up with something. B, I need some type of something because, again, I'm not Daniel Boone. And, you know, it's just, there are some things I just need.
I'm with you.
All right, whatever. Yeah.
And that makes us soft in the eyes of some. But guess what? I will lean into that softness all day long.
That's right. I want amenities because, you know, I did not grow up in the age of no air conditioning. My parents probably did, but I did not.
Steven, I just appreciate the fact that your wife wanted to sleep in a tent, yet in tent you're using power from camper that you could be sleeping in to get heat into tent.
Well, yeah.
But we needed to rough it in tent. But we have power in tent from camper that's right there that we could be sleeping in. I love it.
I'll raise you one. We own a tent. The
Thank you,
McElroy
Steven.
family owns a tent.
I just told you we have one in our backyard.
No, I know, but I'll raise you one beyond that. We own a tent, and it, for a little while, was perched up in our, I guess, playroom.
Yeah, it's
We had
cool.
tent.
It's cool to go in.
We had a tent inside.
Now that is where you can spend the night in a tent.
See, I'm good with that.
Absolutely.
I'm good with that. I'm not sleeping down there.
God, my daughter begged me to. Please, Daddy, let me sleep out here. No. Absolutely not, because that means I have to be out here to monitor.
Yeah, the other
And
thing
that's
too is
not
like
happening.
in your backyard,
Not gonna do it.
like you might not have snakes, you might not have bears, you might not have boa constrictors and vipers trying to enter your tent, but what you might have is you might actually have people that are showering your tent with poop, dog poop.
And we had 2 in the last week that let theirs go on the sidewalk again.
Oh, it's back.
I've
stops.
said this before. It never stops. Humanity is going to be terrible forever. Parts of it, a small percentage of it, and it just rotates to where it gets noticeable. And there are very few people on a giant FM signal that can call them out. And trust me, when I get video evidence of it, it's going up on every platform that I own. I might even go to what's the one we had the commercial for? Trust FM, whatever the new Twitter is. What the hell's that called? I'll start an account on that and post videos on that of people doing it. I will put you on blast when I find you. But on the sidewalk, guys, on a sidewalk that you walk your dogs on, you know kids are riding their bikes and pushing their scooters and old people are walking, and you let your dog dump in the middle of the sidewalk and you just keep going. Your brain operates that way?
Yes.
You deserve every bad thing coming your way. Stub toe, trip and skin and elbow.
All of it?
Broken tooth on curb when you fall. Car looking at text messages on phones, swerving over and bumping into you. You get every single one of them.
All of it.
If you let your dog dump in the middle of a sidewalk that people actually use. Now, if we were at a campground and nobody goes there anymore, different story.
It's part of the survival tactic. It's part of the curriculum.
Michael Kirby has a great question that we'll get to after we visit with Kyle Peterson, who discusses the College World Series next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Before we get to Kyle Peterson and say by Gusty Goulas to Gusty Goulas Group, 9:27 a.m. Monday, June 23rd. If you're looking for a new home in the Birmingham area, Gusty Goulas Group wants to help you. They've helped members of my family. Listen, it's not just my family here in Central Alabama. The Gusty Goulas Group have served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. You can trust their aggressive and proven selling system. Over 850 five-star Google reviews. Most agents, they're going to start marketing after you list with them. Gusty's been doing it. Brokered by eXp Realty. Go to GustyGoulsGroup.com today. Google it for yourself and just see what people are saying. Or call 205-542-1996. That's the Gusty Goulas Group. GustyGoulsGroup.com or 205-542-1996 today and start packing. Kyle Peterson of ESPN joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline now to talk College World Series. Kyle, what's the last human being that you know that told you they spent the night in an actual tent going camping?
I usually don't talk to those people.
There you go. Fair.
No, I don't know. I've never done it, but I'm in for it if it's the right setting. But yeah, I don't have a great answer to that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I for one don't feel like that there's still a lot of people that do that. I think it's because I listen to too many murder podcasts, but I just feel like that it's not a real thing. But otherwise, Greg thinks that there's just too many glamping options. But yeah, it's just we wondered how many people actually still sleep in tents.
Yeah, you can talk me into the glamping.
Yeah, I do.
This felt like one that people are going to leave saying dominated by LSU. Does LSU deserve that much credit, or is that doing a little bit of a disservice to Coastal?
No, it's doing a total disservice. I mean, the first game, if they flip the ball to second base in the first inning, it's nothing in the ninth. And the second game's a 5-3 game. So no, I don't think it was total. LSU had one big inning. I mean, honestly, that's the difference of the finals when you look at it. And a play that, I think he's going to get him out at second base in the first inning. You don't think a ton about it at the time, and then you look back and you're like, whoa, this game was 1-0. And if that dude's not standing on second base, he probably doesn't score, and the whole game's different. So no, I don't. I got asked an interesting question last night. It was by a buddy of mine at LSU. And he said, of all the 8 championships, where do you rank this team? From a talent standpoint and everything else, I said, I honestly think it's kind of near the bottom. But yet, it's LSU. And in baseball, it's pretty crazy, man. And it doesn't always happen, but it happens more than anybody else. They just tend to show up in the biggest moments.
It was pretty remarkable to watch, and obviously the pitching performance in Game 1 was pretty miraculous, as you can imagine. We kind of look back at what LSU and ultimately what Coastal has gone through. Does this kind of signal a shift where you're still going to have the big boys, but there's still that place for a quote Cinderella, even though Coastal doesn't really feel like a Cinderella with the success they've had in recent years?
Yeah, they're not. I would agree with you, Greg. They're definitely not Cinderella. I kind of comped them to Fullerton in the Fullerton heydays, to where it's it's not a major conference, but yet when you look at the team, you're like, yeah, I mean they're really good. I don't know what to tell you, because last year we thought that it was a different flip. I mean, last year it was 4 SEC, 4 ACC. Is anybody else ever going to make it? And then this year is totally different. So I guess what I would say is I think that what it signals is we have no idea, which is wonderful. I don't ever want to get into a sport to where you start the year and say, here's the 3 teams that have a chance to win the whole thing. I don't, that's not fun. And I don't think we have that. I mean, if you would have looked at LSU halfway through the season, they would not have been at the top of my list to win the whole thing. Arkansas was there all the way through, and I still think I'll get yelled at, but I get yelled at every day by people. I think Arkansas was best team, but craziness happened, and then they got beat, and then LSU became LSU again. So no, I think the sport's in a really good place, because I don't know. The portal matters; it's a big deal, but we also saw that the portal is not that's not the end all in this thing, and hopefully it continues that way.
Kyle Peterson joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline was on the call for the College World Series. Are you going Cal State Fullerton heyday or Wichita State Darren Dryford heyday?
I I think you could pick either, honestly. I mean, what Gene did at Wichita was pretty crazy. I mean, honestly, build a team when they didn't have a field. I mean, if you go look at the old Wichita stories, they're pretty awesome. I mean, Joe Carter was there, and they practiced on a field that didn't have a fence. Like, I mean, Joe Carter's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
And it started the Wichita run, and Augie was the same way at Fullerton. So I think the point is you don't, and hopefully, and I think they are, athletic departments are taking a look at this, saying, okay, we're not going to compete. Like, Coastal's not going to compete for a national championship in football. They're not going to do it. And they're probably not going to do it in basketball either. I don't even know if they play basketball, but they can in baseball. And plenty of others can. And I think it's a unique thing about our sport, which is great, is if you commit, and it's not crazy money, but if you commit to it, you got a real chance to compete at the end of the year. And if you want to look at bottom lines for universities, like, this matters. I don't know what the numbers are, but when you make a run like this, the applications go up and people are more interested in your school. And it's not as simple as how many people show up for a game. From a university standpoint, there's a lot more to it. So hopefully there's more that do it, but I'm encouraged because plenty have in baseball.
It seems like in baseball, you can find diamonds in the rough, no pun intended, more so than you can in other sports, which to me is kind of amazing given the metrics that we have to kind of evaluate these players. How are guys, I guess, that are in the portal in some cases so under recruited and they end up at a place like Coastal or wherever they end up and have remarkable years? How can you hide these guys with some of the things that go into surrounding these guys?
I think some is location as far as where you're from. Some is development. Some is, hitting a baseball is a really hard thing. And it takes a while. I mean, there's a reason why there's a minor leagues in baseball, and there's not a minor leagues in any other major sport that really feeds the big club. It's hard. So I think it takes everybody different amounts of time to get to the point that you realize how good they're actually going to be or how good they can be. I mean, look at Blake Barthel was hitting third for Coastal, and the story's awesome. Like, he's a Pennsylvania kid that, I think he's Pennsylvania or Jersey, that comes down to a camp, and they had 4 fields at their camp, and he was on field 4. And field 4 means that the volunteer coach is watching that field, but those are just the guys that paid to go to camp. And then he gets 3 hits the first day and 3 hits the second day, and they're like, hey, you may want to come watch this dude. So he moves up fields. And the next thing you know, he's a starting second baseman in the College World Series as a true walk-on that simply went to a camp that was on the backfield. So to your point, like, I don't know. I don't know why. I think it happens in all sports, but it does seem to happen more in baseball. And I think some is development process takes longer. And it's hard for any seasoned scout or coach or anybody else to be right about the 16-year-old kid that weighs 140 pounds that 4 years from now may weigh 195 and be a real player. That's a hard projection. But I think it's one of the great things about the game.
We're visiting with Kyle Peterson on the Higginbotham Hotline. I can't leave this conversation without getting your thoughts on the first inning with Angel Campers and Kevin Shaw getting ejected for arguing. Now, the rule book, I believe, based on what I've read, heard, and seen, looks like it was accurate and in play. Then you're going to have certain people, Kyle, that are going to say, not in that setting, not in that game. You can't go there. It probably needs to be more egregious. Just give us your view, your seat, just kind of your thoughts on how this went down.
I think you actually nailed it right there. Like, so Angel has a quick trigger. And I was at a game a few years ago, and the regionals are supers. I'm not sure. He threw out Clemson center fielder Cam Canarella for what I thought was way too quick. He's also balls and strikes a really good umpire. I mean, he's got a bunch of big league time, but he hears everything. And that's not the greatest attribute of an umpire. So my take is the easy, like, this is just kind of culture. The easy move is he screwed up. And I think he did, but I don't think it's massively egregious. Kevin Schnall I mean, he told him 3 times to get back. The rule says you can't argue balls and strikes. He yelled you missed 3, which I actually don't think he did. I think his zone was fine. And then he told him to stop. And he told him twice to stop. And he kept coming. His first base coach didn't do him any favors. But ultimately, for me, umpires need more of a gray area than most have. And in situations like that, like, he's got to go berserk to throw him out. And I know that's really hard from a human standpoint. I mean, they're humans. Like, if somebody's yelling at you, telling you how bad you are, your natural reaction is to tell them to leave. So I get that. But in that situation, I don't think it was egregious enough to throw him out. The other thing is, I don't think it was so egregious that everybody jumps on the he sucks bandwagon for the umpire. There was reason to run him. I don't think he should have done it, but I think there's plenty of blame to go all the way around.
I think most people would be with you. KP, great stuff, man. Thanks for joining us. It was an awesome College World Series, really, in its entirety. You guys did a great job. Always do a great job on the call, and we appreciate the time today. He said, hell with y'all.
See y'all.
He is watching his daughter play golf right now, so
he
probably, like, there may have been a birdie putt or something happening. He had to run.
Just a little fist pump.
Possibly. Well, I just got a little excited there, and like I said, needed to go watch whatever was coming next.
Hey,
so,
got to do what you got to do. Love that.
If that's the case, we have no problem with that.
Yes.
That is not
totally
something
support.
We're never going to have an issue with that. Get out there and get it done. So your CBD store gets it done. If you need better sleep, if you need to lose weight, your CBD store has products that can help you with those issues. At the largest brick-and-mortar CBD retailer in the world, they focus their attention on being the best plant sciences company out there. First company to have USDA-certified organic oil supplements. If it's skincare, gut health, arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet, just taking the edge off at night, your CBD store has answers. Go to one of their 3 locations today, Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleaver. Trustful just off 459, your CBD store, where good health hits home. Follow up on a little bit of that conversation with Kyle Peterson. More reaction coming from you. Matt wants to talk College World Series. We'll get to him before we go to break. Matt, what's on your mind?
Hey, that was a good guest there. I have followed college baseball for many years, and then, of course, was a student at different colleges, universities, and different conferences. And I tell you, I'm not really looking forward to the future for smaller schools with NIL and so forth. But Coastal Carolina had 26 wins straight from April 22nd.
I think April 10th.
Yeah, I think it was 20. But anyway, they had 26 wins. That's unbelievable. They had a pitcher who had never lost a game, who was undefeated this season. They had, they play ACC schools, they play Sunbelt schools, they play East Coast schools that are actually not in either conference, but they have a difficult schedule. They get to Auburn. They beat Auburn before the biggest crowd ever at Auburn Plainsman Park history, 2 games straight. Auburn can't even beat Coastal at home. Auburn was the 4th seed. Coastal had a tough schedule. Coastal was as good as any team out there. The Sun Belt is outstanding in baseball. That's where they excel. I personally think throwing the coaches out in the first inning probably made a difference with the pitching for Coastal. That's the only game that guy's ever lost. However, I understand that, supposedly they were warned. If you're in the crowd, you don't know what's going on. They got microphones, the umpires do. They don't tell the crowd what's going on. The crowd has no idea why these guys are getting thrown out. They just get thrown out, Two coaches in the first inning get thrown out. So anyway, that's kind of bizarre. I think Arkansas was a good team. They just didn't have the hitting, consistent hitting. But Arkansas
hitting defense, so he puked down their throats, their legs again.
How about the bat? How about the ball off the guy's forehead into the corner? It's like Arkansas.
Like
God
7
love
defensive mistakes in that game.
I mean, God love them. I've never seen a team, and this dates back how many years now? I
think it was
in
17,
Omaha?
17, 18.
I mean, it's
like
as soon as it feels like they got the ball in their racket, they can't help but mess it up. It's just painful.
I get it. I just, for me personally, I think losing a coach in baseball probably means a lot less than some other sports. I'm not saying it has no impact, But we know there's certain coaches in basketball or baseball that try to get their guys going, to get them pumped up. Here's the reality. Coastal went 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position in the College World Series final. They had opportunities. They couldn't make it happen, and they couldn't make it happen largely because of Cade Anderson and the LSU pitching staff. He was unbelievable. He had more strikeouts than he had innings pitched just in the final. So that was great. All right, we'll be back with more next with Mac and Cube in the morning. Matt tweets in, said he runs through Homewood frequently, can't run past the alley behind my house looking for poop and picturing Cole getting red-faced. It's back there.
Oh, yeah.
It might not be behind my house right now because they're scared and they moved a couple of houses down, but walk that alley. You'll see it.
Walk that alley.
No
find
shame
out.
in those people's game.
Walk
Also,
that alley, find out.
the previous caller, did we try to say Coastal's not good? I feel like we have been very complimentary of Coastal this year.
No.
First time they've won back-to-back games since April 25th and June 18th, somewhere around then. Lost back-to-back games to end season after winning 26 straight from April 25th to June 18th. Second time this season they lost back-to-back games versus the same opponent. The other, Troy.
Oh, yeah.
As he said, Sunbelt's really good baseball.
Yeah.
You don't need to sell us on Coastal. We were very, very familiar with how good that group was. You don't need to walk us through it or anything. That was a great group. They lost to the number one team in the country.
Here's what you don't want to be. A team winning 20 or more straight going into Omaha. Because the other team that did it, Oregon State, they both lost.
That's exactly what it is. You need them. You need
Sounds
them.
like
you
me.
need them to lose so they can taste defeat.
It's a great time to lose, guys. We're going to
Guys,
learn
we
our
gotta
lesson
lose.
now.
That's the lesson.
Guys, today's the day we're gonna lose. Lay it down today.
Is that maybe one of the dumbest?
Oh my gosh!
What did we call these? Not a soliloquy, but
It's
like what,
every
like
year
when
going
everybody's
into the
like,
NCAA tournament.
"This is the time you want to lose, guys."
Right.
This will get them refocused. for the
Great
stretch
time to
run.
lose, right there. We learned our lesson. That's going to refocus the guys.
No.
Let me tell you what I didn't do when I lost. Immediately dialed back into football.
No, first thing Cole did was go
I'm not telling you
punches
not
punches right guard, and then he
No,
broke
did
a
not wanna
locker,
Did not want to do that.
and then
Depending on
he,
which one it was. I played with a lot of right guards.
and then he ran right through.
Hart McGarry, yes. Kendall Simmons, no.
Went straight to the sled.
Not
Yeah,
Went
right back to
100%.
the
He took a
sleds.
sledgehammer straight to the lockers, and then he went into the weight room and did like a Latimer style workout.
That was it. Just spitting everywhere.
Yeah,
And then I hit the film room.
guys, you guys now
I
know what
can't
it's
stand
like.
that. Might be one of the dumbest sayings in sports. Is
It
that
is.
losing is good at a certain point in the season.
No.
It seriously does. It kind of drives me crazy every year going into the NCAA tournament.
Well,
As-
you weren't here on what was it, Damian? Wednesday when we had the conversation of can't beat a team twice in the same
It's
season.
hard. It's hard to beat a team twice.
Hard to beat a team twice.
Hard to beat a team twice.
Hell, guys, some teams hard to beat once.
It's hard to beat them
Feel
3
me?
times. Learn how to beat them 3 times.
Three. God almighty.
That's actually impossible. So where are you? Harder?
I feel pretty
Who's
good.
it harder for? The team that won or the team that lost?
I always feel pretty good about the fact that I don't know. I won the game, so I think I could probably do it
Kinda
again.
where-
Thank you.
Kind of where we went.
Thank
I
you.
like a mental edge.
Right. I've done this
When you
before.
know who
I
Daddy
mean, it
is,
was hard to beat that team that we beat again. Really?
beat
I
'em.
got the blueprint right there.
got him.
And guess what also I have? Video evidence of it.
Thank you.
Not even written evidence.
Nope.
We can watch it happen.
But here's the thing: the team that lost the first
But
time.
then actually people tweeted in the show and gave us like 72 examples of the team that won the first time winning the second time. And I was like, maybe I'm wrong.
Hard to do it.
Ohio State.
Bama, Georgia.
there are a million examples of teams that won the second time around. It happens.
I feel like there's plenty more of the second time around it being a repeat win than there is a
It definitely happens.
loser got him the second time
It happens.
in football, not baseball.
Foosball.
Football.
Football.
It's a great time to lose, fellas. Great time to right now is when we refocus things.
Guys,
You know what none of our coaches ever told us, guys, after we lost?
disgusting.
That this is the time we needed to lose.
Guys,
No.
y'all are going to learn from this.
It's disgusting.
It's amazing to me.
Yeah, learn how
Like,
much I
it's
hate
almost
losing.
like there's no way you can keep winning. Yeah.
Thank you. Like,
Ah.
what, huh? Like, does it have to stop? Like,
Few
we-
teams
we-
that can.
We feeling good, right? Like, we can keep this going, right?
Who won the SEC tournament
just
in
not
basketball
Coastal
this year?
Carolina.
Auburn.
The SEC tournament in basketball.
Wasn't it
Florida?
Auburn? Florida. Oh, yeah.
Who won the Natty?
Florida.
But it would have been good for Florida.
But they didn't have
bow
to-
a couple-
how many teams
couple
they have-
rounds
Houston wasn't in
early.
the SEC.
How many teams
though.
they have to play twice?
Yeah.
That's fair.
You don't get Mercer in the first round and the fourth round, Greg. All right, back with more next. We've had one listener tweet, call, text in that they still sleep in tents. Not saying that nobody camps. Sleep in a tent. Very different.
There's also nothing wrong with that.
Didn't say there was.
I'm just saying that
Proving my point that murder podcasts have ruined camping.
I've said
this morning on First Take.
I said this earlier in a break. My favorite part about this whole conundrum that Cubelic's dealing with is not that camping is an inconvenience. Camping is not comfortable. Camping is a challenge. Camping is, for someone with a bad back, literally impossible. But no, it's because Cole is going to get murdered in his tent in the middle of the night.
It's not impossible because I carried my kids 2 77-pound duffel bags to their camping bins or whatever headquarters buildings they're sleeping in.
You said your only reason for not camping is because you'll get murdered by someone with a machete in the middle of the night. Not because of any other reasons.
My number one, yes.
Not because of any other reasons.
I listen to too much Dateline, man. Like, it's real.
I'm going to die.
Where are all these bodies that people are finding?
I'm going to die in my tent at the hands of a machete dealer.
They're in the woods. Crazy people in the woods, man.
Friday the 13th.
Which he's admitted he doesn't watch that.
I don't. I'm not a scary movie person. Well, so maybe I just.
I'll be prepared for Crystal Lake situations. You won't. I know how to avoid Jason Voorhees. You'll walk right into him.
I guess I'm just gonna get got in my tent.
That's it.
Out on the campground.
At least the bear. Here's the bear is dumb enough to make noise when he's coming to try to eat me. All right. The guy trying to take me out with the machete or his switchblade.
He has a
see, but that's the difference.
Yeah, see, we don't even hear that when the real person's coming up.
I got news for you. You come in my tent, I'm packing. Like
you're asleep though.
If I'm no, I sleep with one eye open.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
gunslinger from Texas, baby.
I will have.
What are you, Popeye?
I'll have more guns in my tent than food options.
Captain Hook now. We're back tomorrow with hopefully a less dumb show. 3-Man Front is next.